Sorry, Nari.
Always call before you visit. Jedi teaching number 1.
Sorry, Nari.
I'm on a secret mission. I'm not your friend. Bury your lightsaber. Get the fuck out.
Sorry, Nari.
Soft little feast. Getting in the sky. It wasn't to be with Kenobi.
Sorry, Nari.
Rebel show. Rebel show. Sorry, Nari. You gotta go.
Sorry, Nari.
With MakingStarWars.net.
Where am I? Hi, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. You're watching our show.
There is no other Star Wars show on YouTube like this. I assure you.
Griffin's all, what is this?
When people are like, we're nerds, we're geeks. No, you're not. We're nerds. This is nerd and geek shit right here.
You got taught a lesson. You guys got taught a lesson. Oh, yeah, I watched Game of Thrones. I'm such a nerd.
Oh, Succession. I'm a nerd. I saw Sonic 2. I'm a nerd. Like, no. This is nerd shit. If you're like, I don't get it, it's nerd shit.
Yeah. So we're kind of like on the precipice of Kenobi, if you will. Like, it's everything's kind of, today was like a quiet morning, and I was like, hey, where's the stuff I don't have to do anything for? Like falling articles from the sky on Vanity Fair I could yell at, and nothing really so far. So we're just seeing where we're at. But I just did think that it was funny that old man Christensen said, yeah, I really enjoyed the sequel trilogy. It was great the way they honored this character. I really enjoyed everything they've been up to. And it was fun for me to just go back and be a fan and just watch these stories like everybody else. And that's what he said to Ali Fashari. So, yeah. So Hayden Christensen said he liked the sequel trilogy. I just thought it was funny because I saw like a bunch of people getting overly excited about it, but also overly angry about it, which I found both of those things just to be angry, sort of hilarious.
Because you liked a movie you didn't like?
Yeah. Well, you know, your heroes have to like everything you like and be just like you. That's why you're just like them.
I always tell people, like, when they're like, because when I'm drawing and streaming, I don't put any music on because I get DMCAs for breathing. And I'm not even joking about that.
Yeah.
While I'm streaming, while I'm dreaming, drawing.
Streaming while I'm dreaming. That's our new song.
There's a new song.
Mm-hmm.
And I get these DMCAs from Warner's Media Group for a German yoga CD. Like,
yeah.
I mean, can't even make it up. But I tell people, I'm like, even if I did play music, you wouldn't like anything I listen to. Like, you know, like, why should you? Like, you think you're going to like, if you and George Lucas got in a car like Ahmed Best did, which, man, I just wanted to know, like, what music is he listening to? You think you're going to want to listen to it? You're telling me you put on the soundtrack to American Graffiti for fun every day? No.
I think most of you are going to be pretty mad when he thinks Laurel and Hardy are the funniest thing he's ever seen. He's like,
right. So think about the
George
movies,
McFly, you know? Yeah.
Right. So that's like, you like the things they made. You probably don't like the things they like.
I like to go like with like musical artists and stuff like that. I like to like figure out who they listened to and who they liked and who inspired them, and try to find like the value in it. And then every now and then I'm like, I don't find value in this, but I see how they got where they got with it. I find that kind of interesting, like for what it is. But yeah, for the most part, it's kind of irrelevant because it's where they got to that people are into as fans, not necessarily how they got there all the time. You know?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Stedman's art. Stedman did like, is
that Oprah's husband? Is that Oprah's man?
I wish. No, that's the guy who did like the art for like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. You've seen his art. Like, he's a big illustrator. You know, and he actually inspired a lot of cartoonists. Like Bill Watterson borrowed a lot from Stedman in his ink lines. But most people can't look at Calvin and Hobbes and then see Stedman. You know, they're like, what? You know, and those moms that love Calvin and Hobbes aren't going to be looking at Stedman's art, like, on any level, you know? So, you know, we've talked about The Last Jedi before. For me, it's like Return of the Jedi. It's a 50-50.
It's its birthday.
But I do feel, man, that had Ryan gotten a chance to do episode 9, first, would have been way better film than what we got. I don't even think that's even hard. Like that beyond that. But I think the stuff that I didn't like I didn't like Finn and some of the takes, I think he would have corrected that, you know? Like he would have corrected that with the next one. So the real shame of 8 is that, because it ended so strong, you know, like the ending of that is brilliant. I do love the ending. That and 8, even with its faults, for me is still better than 2 out of 3 fucking prequel films. Like you could pick any one you want, folks. I don't care what it is, but it's definitely better than 2 out of 3 of those prequel films by a long shot. So yeah,
I just find the emotional response to be pretty funny.
Hayden.
It's really crazy.
So the guys that have been like all pro Hayden this whole time, he's coming back. Finally, we're getting our man. I don't know why they saw that as. I don't know why they see Anakin Skywalker as the bastion of manhood. I mean, he definitely looks like an incel. You know, he acts and behaves.
Who Anakin?
Yeah.
Oh no, he's dreamy and he's hunky. So no one thinks that. It's okay. Like I said, we talked about this all the time. It's okay. He killed those kids because he's hot.
Don't make that joke today. That is not the day for that joke.
That's true. That's true. You're right.
It's not the day for that one, my friend.
Yeah, you're right.
So
but
good for Hayden.
Yeah.
I really wish that there was a scene in episode 9 where Kylo had encountered the ghost of Anakin. You know, even if they had aged him up, like put him behind makeup or something and shit, like whatever you wanted to do, you know, like.
So happy to have Hayden Christensen back in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like I'm looking forward to that, like massively. But you're right. It should have happened already. We should be like, oh, good, he's back again. Not
because we do live.
He's finally
we live
back.
in a country, and we're especially living in a country where a political party they keep fetishizing the past as if it's some romantic ideal version of America. We've slipped away from that. And Kylo's doing that in these films, right? He's romanticizing a guy who, you know, did a lot of heinous shit. And for him to actually be able to encounter that person in the afterlife and get the brother, what are you doing? You know, like becoming me was not the lesson to learn. You know, that's just what a hell of a missed opportunity.
It is a weakness of the whole thing. Like, I do feel like Kylo needed a moment where massive power was sort of going through the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy has power he cannot control at times and did something bad. And then the guilt leads him into believing he's Darth Vader, that he is that. He just has to accept it. And then Palpatine manipulates that. The one thing you don't get when you watch the movies is what is with the adoration of Darth Vader? He's my grandpa. So therefore, it's like, is Kylo the kind of guy who wears a kilt to work because he did, 23andMe and found out something about his ancestry? It kind of like, it doesn't really resonate with me. But I do think The Last Jedi is the actually truly only good movie of those films. I mean, it's like a truly good original movie.
And it is written in a way where you can just watch that film, right? And like it works as a beginning, middle, and end for the sequel trilogy. Like, you know what I mean? Like you between that opening crawl, right? And that opening, like, my biggest problem with that Luke chucking the saber thing, Hamill has a weird, goofy take. It's just that tonally, that take doesn't match up with where the previous film was left off. But if you only watched episode 8 by itself, then it's fine. My problem with Finn and the Stormtrooper stuff not being further expanded upon gets kind of left out it's not as bad when that's the only film, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Yeah, Ryan
based off.
picked up on Finn's propensity to run rather than Finn used to be a stormtrooper until yesterday. Which, I mean, I guess is like
Yeah,
is a fair take. I mean, you could do one or the other or both, but he just did the one really.
but he'd already learned that lesson in the last movie, man. Like, he came back, to help Ray,
Yeah,
and then
well,
like
and
cut in the bag for it. Like,
the trilogy thing though is when the lessons in a trilogy in the middle act. Usually, I think the middle act is when you're tested by what did you learn, and that kind of thing. But
yeah, but he's
yeah,
not learning it. He has a new character teach him. I don't agree with that. It's just this
Mm.
fundamental story thing I don't agree with, and it's not
Yeah.
specific to Rian Johnson.
Johansson.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. It's just, and I think that's where the schism comes from.
Yeah.
So it's a 50-50 with audiences when you go that route. Anyway, but it is really good that, Hayden should look. I think these prequel actors went through way more shit than they needed to back in the day.
Yeah.
Considering that, like, there was a lot of drivel. We were getting Deuce Bigelow at the time too. Like, as much as I goof on when we're watching that, we did that Star Wars Revenge of the Sith rewatch, and I can goof on it and not have an attachment to certain things about it. But let's not forget that Deuce Bigelow was fucking like the number 2, grossing film of like one of those years as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's whenever I hold the prequels and the sequel trilogy up to the films of their era, I still prefer them. And it's kind of to go into Ryoko's comment here. Hayden likes pineapple on pizza. Ewan doesn't. What should I choose? And my take is I might not prefer pineapple on pizza, but fucking pizza's still good. And that's kind of how I view Star Wars. It's like, even like somebody mentions Attack of the Clones in the comments in a little while. And it's like, is Attack of the Clones my favorite Star Wars movie? Do I think it completely hit every mark it could? No, I don't. But I still like really appreciate watching Attack of the Clones over most things in similar genres or of similar.
Well, it was better than The Time Machine, and that came out that year. Remember that?
I don't even remember The Time Machine. Yeah.
I got stuck
I
in
forgot
a
about
fucking
that.
room, forced to watch that with my buddy and his family, like,
Right.
And I was like, please, I just want to leave, I mean, it wasn't better than, say, Road to Perdition, 2 different genres.
Girl, I wish I was watching
I mean?
Van Wilder right now.
I think, quote me on, I haven't looked this up, folks, but if I remember right, I think Master of Disguise had come out in 2002. Remember the Dana Carvey? He looked like he played the turtle
Dana
guy.
Carvey. Dana Carvey, yeah.
Dana Carvey, yeah, with the turtle and. Yeah,
that turtle was pretty funny though.
Shit that year.
That turtle was pretty funny. I mean, it kind of looked like a Koopa Troopa. I always thought he should play a Koopa Troopa in a Mario movie after that. Yeah, but yeah, I like pizza. Joel says The Last Jedi. Yeah, you know what? And this isn't just me having a hot take. I mean, I had a good time. It was fine, but I really didn't change my life. Joel Jensen says The Last Jedi is a good film, and so is Attack of the Clones. I really, really hope you're wrong, and Lucas never regretted making it the way he did. Yeah, I like I said, actually know this. He felt like the experiment didn't click. Like what he hoped. It just like I guess it's like I'm gonna compare it to when you're baking something and you think these ingredients are gonna work, and then okay, it doesn't work as like I thought it would. And then now I got to make it work. I got to make it servable. And that's what he did.
I think the move to a digital camera was just it was a great idea, but for the longevity of that film, the flatness of those films aren't because they're CGI backdrops.
Yeah,
there's a lot of model backdrops.
I don't think he's talking about visuals, though. I think he's talking about.
I'm just talking. I'm trying to stay away from the story. I'm just talking visually.
Yeah, I think Lucas is talking about trying to mash up the Titanic love story, sappy elements with a Sam Spade detective story via Kenobi, and just like the two just don't sit well together. Is kind of one thing is inherently more interesting to somebody, generally speaking.
But I'll always start with a visual first.
Yeah.
because like it's easy, you know.
That's what
People
Michael
can
Bay
grasp
said.
a visual. But when you look at the depth in scenes on the Phantom Menace, there is a depth to them, even
Yeah.
though there's model work and CG, and they're very
Oh,
flat.
totally
Attack of-
agree.
It's very, I mean, in a way where you're like, it's so fucking weird. Like,
Mhm.
you know, and I didn't notice it when it first came out. I was like, well, it's not so bad. And then I saw the IMAX version, and because the screen was so big, I was like, you could really see, and it was a laser, you know, IMAX. Like you could, was it laser? I don't know if it was laser, but it was a digital IMAX. Digital IMAX.
Yeah,
Um,
DLP was coming out around then, but I don't know if that was a DLP presentation.
Anyways, but just because of the size of it, I was like, oh, yeah, this is real weird. They're in
Yeah.
front of things. If they're not unsimilar, it doesn't look as bad, but not dissimilar to like Rebel Assault, right? Like,
Well, until they got that depth of field down for Revenge of the Sith, like before that, it does have. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but it does have like a Photoshop layered kind of quality to it, where things look like they're flat layers, and it's very kind of
crushes.
obvious. Yeah, it's very
crushes.
kind of obvious, and so yeah, but Joel goes, or Young Boomer says, no, that's not true. That's impossible. If he likes Last Jedi, he likes Last Jedi. I like Bombad Jedi in the Clone Wars. Most people hate that episode. For its issues, it's beautifully shot film, and Luke's arc is fire. Yeah, Bombad Jedi is super fucking good. Like, it's a super, super great Jar Jar story. And it's having the Nemodians think that Jar Jar's a Jedi, and then everybody panicking. It's what gives Jar Jar the upper hand, and for his bullshit to work out is pretty funny. And it even has like a little cute little moral of the story at the end where he's nice to the monster and the monster saves him. And so yeah, I think it's pretty good Star Wars personally. But all of that said, I agree with you about the Last Jedi too. Joel goes on to say, I like all the Last Jedi personally, even the Canto Bight stuff. And Finn's arc was great. He went from wanting to find Rey so he could both hide and be safe to really taking up a cause by the end. Yeah. And I think that the thing with the Canto Bight stuff, though, is that like it is truly about teaching a lesson to kids about money and power. And I think to some extent, people who already know it are like, yeah, I know it. I don't need this. And they're just looking at it for the visual of what it is and not wanting it. And then you have the other side that want us to believe that rich people are great and we should all want to be them and keep, the carrot on the stick going kind of thing. So I personally, I actually really respect Rian Johnson for the endeavor there, if that makes sense. But
I would agree with that. Just feels like a first draft take on that idea.
Joel Judson says Luke's story was brilliant and heartbreaking. Yeah, I agree too. I think that Luke goes from where Luke goes from in that movie is a successful arc. But as we can see, people, they start writing the tweet in their head before they've even finished the movie. And when they do that, they've already committed to the thought that the film literally cannot introduce a third idea or a third step in a progression. Sorry, got this hot take. Bye. Tweeting it out. Now I said it. Gotta stick to it forever. And yeah, that's a problem. It is a problem.
You know, it's funny thinking about Attack of the Clones. My buddy who passed away last year, he was 11 years older than me, so he was, 10 or 11 when the first Star Wars film came out in '77.
Yeah,
I know it's a New Hope, it's Star Wars. I don't like that. Anyway, he straight up hated the prequels when we were in the army together. And when Attack of the Clones came out, I mean, he didn't like the Phantom Menace. He shed on that. But the weird part is later on in life, like one of the conversations we were having right before he passed, he was doing this solo, like backpacking, working for different oil companies out in Alaska kind of life.
Okay.
And he would go, I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe. I'm like, you quote a film you hate. Like, there is something to be said, whether you like it or not, that people do quote these films in a way. You know what I mean? I don't see a lot of people quoting Spider-Man or Reign of Fire or
Rain of Fire.
like I love Rain of Fire. I had a good Star Wars
Yeah.
moment.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, Rain of Fire was fun.
but
It was fun. I mean, yeah,
but
definitely.
they all came out that time, right? Like no
Mhm.
one's quoting. I don't see a lot of people quoting Austin Powers anymore, and that was quoted forever, right? So
Thank God. Yeah, that's the thing about, like we were talking about before, like why did Shakespeare become Shakespeare? Because it was available to the masses. Everyone had it. It's a shared thing. And it's like you could quote Rain of Fire right now, and no one, and myself included, is going to know that was a quote from Rain of Fire. But
right.
Begun the Clone War has, and it was, what was funny was that was an argument I
Don't
used
like
to
that
have.
line.
I know, but if I said it, everybody
How does he know what the
knows.
Clone Wars are before? I know. I don't want to get into
Yeah.
it. Like,
Well, I mean, I just pretend he got a cell phone call, and it was like Bell Organics, like, hey, we're ordering more clones. Yeah.
I know.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. It is. Coolio. It is.
There should have been a stenograph reporter. Hold on, repeat that again. The Clone Wars. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Good job, Yoda.
Um,
Silly. Fine, whatever.
But yeah, that was something that I used to get thrown at me because I liked them, because people just think that you should like whatever they like, whatever their preference is, you should have. And they would be like, no one's quoting that. And like at the time we were having this little dumb internet argument, and I started finding Attack of the Clones, like the Clone War line, in like cartoons and TV shows that were, and then they were like, oh yeah, that's like esoteric. You really had to dig to find that. I was like, okay. But now here we are in 2022, and it does make its way around. But also, I will concede that a multinational corporation such as Disney buying it does definitely help it proliferate into the pop culture as well. So there is that too.
You don't see a lot of Lord of the Rings quotes too much, too, do you? Right? Like, how
No,
many
you
of those
get your ass kicked if you do that. Oh yeah, you don't do that.
Thanks, Clerks, too. Like,
Yeah. Now the only one I like is I can't even say it right, but when the little guy's like, you got my axe, it is kind of funny when somebody drops that into a conversation randomly every now and then. But I
they
haven't heard
meme
that
the
in
shit
years.
out of it. I'm just saying, like, quotes randomly in conversation. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Dave Filoni likes both of those films too. Yeah, I mean, so I've heard, I know we have a couple of mutual friends, and I've heard that Dave Filoni was not super into the sequel trilogy overall, but that doesn't mean he hates the sequel trilogy. We got to stop thinking like in binaries of yes or no, black or white. Like he's said before, he likes the like Raylo sort of attributes of the story. Like he's into that, and so I think that it's kind of like there is a message in the Last Jedi, and that's a good message, and that's take what you like from the past and drop the rest that you don't like or you don't need. That's not good for you, and then that's kind of like, I think, in a weird way, what Filoni does with Star Wars. It's what he definitely did with the Clone Wars to the prequels. He dropped all of the heavy baggage from the prequels and concentrated on what was fun or what was lacking. And I think it gave us a successful story. And I think they did that with The Mandalorian. And I think that it likely, as someday he moves into sequel trilogy area or the era, he'll probably do it again. That's my prediction anyway. Joel says, when I say vilifying, of course, I meant thinking you're nuts for liking them a lot. Yeah. No, and I'm totally cool with people thinking I'm nuts for what I like. Like I like all kinds of weird music
100%.
and weird movies. And so it's like, I got out of that.
Song.
My opening theme song. I mean, my opening theme song today. Come on. I mean, me and this fucking crazy guy, we love the Greasy Strangler right here. Me and Baymax. I mean, so it's like at that point, yeah, just kind of into my own shit. So it's fine. But yeah, it does suck though when people like really try to like ram their opinion of what you should like down your throat. And by the same measure, if they don't like it, you trying to do that to them is also equally shitty. But if you don't like something, that's when you remove yourself from the conversations about that thing. You don't stay in the room and then try to change that room to being what you want to talk about all the time. You know, like I don't go, like I said before, I don't go into the Matrix forums or a Matrix based podcast and start just talking about 4 and railing on it every day. That's a weird identity, I think, to assume. But
I had a friend who tried to insinuate I was being non-supportive of the transgender community because I felt that they should audit that film for how much money Lana and them spent on the Matrix 4 compared to what we saw, right? It's like, I'm like, this has nothing to do with transgender rights, bro. That movie got spent almost $300 million fucking dollars on it, and it looks like a made for Netflix low budget. Like, no, I don't want to hear anything about it. I think the film should be audited. You know, like
so what you're saying is transgender, they're just like us.
Yeah, they could scam just like anybody
just
else.
Like us.
What the fuck are you talking about? A friend told me I don't have to support this shit. I saw not Sensei. I saw Cloud Atlas twice in IMAX. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear anything about it. Like, I love that film.
He's crazy.
That looked like a big budget film.
Yeah,
Cloud Atlas looks like a big budget film. Matrix 4, man, dude, like that amount of money for that, I cannot understand on any level. Like,
I'm gonna go with that. The craft services must have been like $5,000 sushi every day or something.
Grey Goose is that? Since we're doing 2002, right? Grey Goose.
Yeah. She's like, Lana's like, she's like, I want it to be like a what's that buffet place? The Corral. I want it like a Golden Corral, but with $5,000 dishes across the board every day. Because that movie was a hard watch. And thank you, Joel. I appreciate the very nice comment. Baymax says, "Woohoo! I think he's talking about the Greasy Strangler. Watch it."
No, he's quoting Anakin Skywalker from the Phantom Menace.
Woo-hoo! Joel says, "I love pineapple on my pizza, so I guess I'm Team Hayden." You know
the
what?
Trick to pineapple on the pizza is it needs chili. Once you add the spice. It needs to go with a chili of some sort, green pepper, crushed red pepper, whatever you want.
Well, I'm going to tell you how I learned to love it. How I learned to love it was somebody ordering pineapple on their pizza and me going, "What the fuck is this?" and taking it off. But then eventually just a little bit of the pineapple juice on there, like kind of, this is kind of good. It's kind of good. And then eventually you want that. And then you just chomp it with the pineapple on it. It's a slippery slope.
But it slowly drip this shit in my mouth for a couple of years. I'll come to miss it.
Yeah, exactly. Jedi Mike says Santa loves Ray. Thanks for open subscriber streams. Of course, yeah. I try to give a little bit of love to the supporters, but also understand that not everybody can be a subscriber, and so I try to mix it up. Baymax says, "Smash, like, and Anakin gets bestowed as Jedi Master." Yeah, if you guys don't like the video, he won't be a master, but he'll be on the council. So, yeah. It was your new favorite song, Griffin. Hell Lambhead. Someone else's favorite song, I hope. Rick Jones says, "Subscribe and like, y'all." Thank you, Rick. Aria says, "Star Wars Celebration goes live on YouTube. Are you guys watching it tomorrow?" I got into the Mando Plus panel.
We're skipping all that shit. Fuck Star Wars.
Yeah,
watching that shit.
Yeah, I like I said, I got into the Mando Plus panel, so I'm probably gonna go to
Mando
that.
Plus.
I think that's what it's called. When is here? I need to look it up. Even I haven't even looked up to see like when I need to like Star Wars Celebration Mando Plus panel. It's all Mando Plus size. Mandalorian. Okay,
BBMs.
Yeah. So it's gonna, and I'm gonna look at the "We Got This Covered" link. So for the very first time "We Got This Covered" will actually be useful to me.
Hey, they had it covered.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Do they? They don't have. They don't even have. Yeah, I need to look up in the stupid app.
The clock is right twice a day, or the clock is wrong twice a day.
Yeah, it's something like that.
I feel like George Bush when he was like, "Twice, slap me once, forget me 3 times." I don't know.
You never watched Step Brothers, right?
No.
You need to watch Step Brothers. It literally opens with that quote. they have that. It's
Oh
so
yeah,
I think it was that quote. Yeah,
I
it's
gotta
great.
watch it. I've heard it's great.
You will
know,
like
so.
it. Yeah. Rick Jones says, I'm so excited. I can't wait for Friday. Yeah, I think it starts tomorrow, doesn't it? Isn't tomorrow when celebration starts? But yeah, I'm excited though. I'm excited. I still totally conflicted about the whole event though. Like I said before. The young boomer says, off topic, but have you seen the mid-season finale of Better Call Saul, Rob? Holy shit. I still haven't. I need to get caught up on it. But now that we're like on the precipice of the end, that's my word today, by the way. Sorry. But
they were talking on the Better Call Saul Insider Pod. They were in the writers' room because they had to do a Zoom because of COVID. They had just started it 2 weeks before lockdowns, and then they had to move to Zoom. They were in the writers' room for 12 months, figuring out the story. Like Vince and I've said it before. I think Rian. I'm gonna keep calling him Rian because it's funny.
Rian Johansson.
But Rian Johnson, he I believe his style of writing is to write yourself in a corner and work your way out. You know,
Sure.
like, and Vince and that crew do that all the time. And then they logically have to work it out. Like they do the hard gives you, if you ever write, folks, there's this pain that goes from here to around there and to the back of your eyeball. And you're like, I hate it. I don't have it when I draw, you know, it's a different muscle up in that fucking noggin of ours.
Yeah, different part of your brain.
Better Call Saul, literally, if you think you could predict it, you just can't. Like, it's very clever.
Yeah.
But it all makes sense. They never do anything where I'm like, oh, like, you know, that shit.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think I should bring this up, not to pick on him or anything like that, but our buddy Darth Del Rio. Do I have the quote on me? I don't. Wait, no, I don't have it on me. He posted on our video yesterday, and he was like, hey, the art of the Rise of Skywalker says that Palpatine is a clone of Return of the Jedi, according to J.J. Abrams, and he got that from George Lucas. And I was like, that doesn't sound right to me, because I was pretty aware of the oscillating backstories for Palpatine on that film, because he couldn't get his shit straight, and I knew that wasn't really one of them. And but he said it, and I was just like, did I really miss something? And I went and dug into it, and it was an April Fool's joke. But what you have are a shit ton of outlets that just steal, just outright thievery of other people's work on the internet, social media, and so on. And it was reported a good, dozens of, not hundreds of times. And then how many of those dozens of irresponsible thieves corrected the story after it was April 1st and they figured it out? Not many. Right. So that's why people
Lucas was not a fan of Dark Empire. He was very vocal about that sort of thing.
He said he's not a clone.
One of the reasons why he was, that was really obvious. Like, so I don't know, man. I don't know.
I knew it was broken from the very second, though, that I saw, because I didn't see it on April Fool's, but I knew it was broken from the very second that I saw it, because I was like, Palpatine is literally falling apart. And if that one was a clone of Return of the Jedi, why is that one falling apart? Like, why are his fingers falling off, but yeah, so just
why wouldn't he just cloned a bunch of hymns instead of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, also, why would the Empire have fallen? If Palpatine died right there, the real Palpatine would just show up and be like, okay, we lost that. The
biggest fault of the sequel trilogy is that the antagonists are really just a poor man's empire. It is bad. Had they been the Mandos rising back up or something, or had it been Darth Plagueis coming back with these Sith army or something, it would have been something. But it's
my son was really, really into the Ukraine war. This is like the first time there's been like a war.
2014 or this one?
This one. And what's been going on, and like he's like this is like he's only 8, but he's like he can comprehend what's going on, makes him mad. There's a clear bad guy, clear good guy. The little guy is interested, and I tried to explain a little bit of history to him, and we went to watch Top Gun last night, actually.
The first one.
And he's like, wait, that's Russia? And I'm like, yeah. Soviet Union is Russia. He's all, and so I had to pause it. He's like, whoa, what? And so I explained to him, Russia was the Soviet Union. It was a kind of a Cold War economic war. They failed. They went under. We technically won, but they didn't go away. And my little kid, my 8-year-old, literally goes, "That's just like the First Order." And I'm like, yeah, it's just like the First Order.
Poorly executed.
No, you could say, but I mean, but it was not lost on an 8-year-old. So there is something that works there, and that
Thrawn's Empire is post-war.
Mhm.
You know, post-Soviet collapse. I mean, it was literally written that way. So like all those seeds are there. The execution is. So.
Yeah, well, they played. Abrams plays the ambiguity game. Why is Leia there? They don't even tell you why Leia's doing what she's doing. It doesn't. It's like, the
Bloodlines bit that Ryan helped put in there was that whole thing with them finally finding out that Leia and Luke's father's Darth Vader. The whole galaxy figuring that out. Man, that's the impetus for the whole sequel. Like that should have been the whole beginning. You know, the opening crawl to Episode 7 is, hey, the whole galaxy just found out that Queen Leia Organa Solo, you know what I mean, his father was basically Hitler. You know?
Well,
oh shit.
Yeah, and you know, we always say you shouldn't have to read a book to understand a movie, but by the same thing, Bloodline and what's the Rogue One prequel novel?
Catalyst.
Those are the 2 most important books I think they probably put out. You know, those are the 2 that are probably my 2 favorite of the canon novels, if you will. Hey, Mike, how's it going? All hell head yourself, bud. And Jedi Mike says, Acolyte, something came out. Theory and Meg dropped some news.
No, it's all this Vanity. They just went over the Vanity Fair article you read
it's
yesterday.
We did that one yesterday.
You can't see the Vanity Fair article because they kept wanting us to pay for it, but I guess Meg and them just paid for it.
or they were able to
doing it.
Yeah, or they were able to like get around it. Yeah,
they just dropped the fucking. We were taking a stance on it. Like, no, fuck you.
I ain't getting enough super chats here to be able to pay for Vanity Fair. All right, this show. I mean, I gotta be honest right here. We barely have enough money to keep the lights on. I mean, oh shit. We didn't pay the electric. We didn't pay the electric bill. Lights are off. No, kidding. Yeah, but. We'll get a Vanity Fair subscription next time. I doubt it. It says, hi, guys. Just got here sending this for the families in Texas. I'm in the UK, but it's such sad news to wake up to. Yeah, it really is. I mean, without bringing, getting too far into it, unless you guys want to. I was telling Rob, I was like 19 years old, getting ready to go to Celebration going, are they going to cancel it? Because they were considering canceling it because of Columbine. And now here I am, 42, getting ready to go to Celebration, and it's not better. It's actually worse. And
it's worse.
Yeah. And Romney got like $15 million from the NRA, so he's good, right? He's good.
Yeah.
Fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all hell Canada today. Is that a maple leaf right there? Are you Canadian too, Joel? Better Call Saul was amazing. Okay, all right. Everybody's convincing me. I'm gonna get caught up on it. I'm gonna do it. Darren says there is an awesome edit on YouTube by Hero Fan Productions where in episode 9 they replace Han with Force Ghost Anakin at the part Kylo turns and throws the saber into the ocean. That's kind of cool. Yeah. The Han Solo bit in 9. That was something where I'm like, I knew it was happening. I knew it happened. I knew what was in it. And like, I'm like reporting. People are like, well, so is he a ghost? I don't know. Is he a figment of his imagination? I don't know. And if you ask me right now, after seeing the movie a bunch of times, I don't know. I still don't know. I just know that you're supposed to be delighted by Harrison Ford.
I don't want to think about the movie. It's hurting my head.
It's hurting your head. Yeah.
You remember Clue? The pain.
The
seething,
it's pretty.
That shit.
Robert St. Clair says he's romanticizing it because his parents and uncle decided to hide it from him. Ben Solo wasn't fully aware of his grandfather's past.
Something we should see and not be told about loosely somewhere else. So
yeah. Also, I have a hard time Like if that's what they went with officially, stupid. But I have a hard time with that. Just like I have a hard time with Luke Skywalker not knowing what the Clone Wars are, but not knowing what Jedi were, because we just decided that's the story we're going to go
They're
with.
literally the central part of the fucking.
Yeah, I think
There was literally Count Dooku is the head of the Confederate separatists. He has a red saber. Like, even if you tried to say, well, he omitted the Jedi, the head of it's literally a dude with a red lightsaber. Like
yeah.
It's not
General Grievous
and his robot buddy has a million of them.
A bunch of them. Yeah, if you know anything about the Clone Wars.
Like a bunch of pool noodles worth of just,
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
my father
that's
fought in the American Civil War. Yeah. What's a gun? What's a cannon? You know what I mean? Kind of.
To be fair, they have no idea what hardtack is, and thank God, because what a fucking nightmare food that was.
Jason, did you see Mr. Sunday Movies Revenge of the Sith video yesterday? If not, you should, because it's pretty great. Oh, I'll check it out. No, I didn't see it yet. Hey, how's it going? Good point, Rob. It's Johnny Boy. Looking at modern issues through lenses of the past, to etc., is illogical within the context of current policy decision making. Yeah, they call that presentism, a presentist attitude, where you try to take the values of the present and apply it to the past, such as thinking, I don't know, a white guy in 1964 who's not incredibly racist. Let's just say he's even pro civil rights. But if you were to take the values of today and put it onto him, he would probably seem like one of the worst people on Twitter. Griffin Campbell says, I dislike when Luke hardly trained Rey and then died. He should have been more present as a teacher in The Rise of Skywalker. You either gotta go with the dyad concept and what's going on there or not, I guess. It doesn't really bother me because watching people go to school is boring. Even as a kid, when in Empire Strikes Back, when like Luke's standing on one hand and shit, I found that shit pretty boring, other than the fact that I found Yoda to be visually appealing to look at as a puppet, because I was just puppet crazy as a kid. But once you kind of get used to that on video, that's why as a kid, Empire wasn't my favorite one. It's like, ooh, AT-ATs, boring. Ooh, Yoda, boring. You know what I mean? And that's why I was all about Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi, Star Wars birthday, but I'm going to celebrate Return of the Jedi's birthday instead. Yeah. Griffin says, the horribly stitched together scenes of Carrie and Tross just do not work for me. Agreed. I think it feels like a soundboard prank call. I feel like Arnold's going to come in at one point and go, who's your daddy and what does he do? Like, I just keep expecting that line at times.
Jerky Starboys.
Yeah,
Sal, Rosen, Organa.
Yeah, but it's just like a soundboard. I respect I respect it as an endeavor, as like a let's try it, but ultimately it doesn't work, and it feels weird. And I'm able to like really now I'm far enough away from I was like able to like just let it all go, and then try and watch it, and even with that, it feels like. It's actually worse than the prequels, stilted acting at times.
All they had to do is open up and she'd already passed like she had in real life,
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
What do you do when all your heroes are gone? How do we move forward? There's an interesting thing. Luke is a ghost. You can do that, but like it's just this whole weird. Sorry.
No. They could have implied. They could have done that, and they could have implied that Leia had been training her, like for the people who have a problem with it. But also, I would like say to Griffin, like Leia literally is training her. Like Leia is the actual like final Jedi master of Rey when you get down to it.
Yeah, if Leia had been training Rey Skywalker, but she passed or whatever, died or something, you know what I mean? Like, and then like she's like, how I sometimes it's like you're already up against an insane time crunch with Episode 9. He comes on board knowing that, and then you give yourself that extra layer of like, how are we gonna figure out how to reanimate a dead person who recently passed away and give her lines in a story? It's over. You lost that opportunity with the first film, Ryan. Yeah. You know what I mean? And Carrie wasn't exactly in the best acting spot either with that first film. Like, it just didn't work out. Well,
I've talked about that. That's why she says I worked with him twice, because they had to refilm all of her stuff, and he made it sound like, oh my god, guys, she was talking about Episode 9. She's from another realm or something. I don't know what he was getting at with that one, but it's like, nah, it's because she fucking partied, dude. Respect. Griffin says to go from she's not a Jedi.
You Ollie G.
Respect. My main weapon, Rob. She's not a Jedi. We have to find Luke Skywalker to psych. She had potential the whole time. It's just weird. Is it though? I mean, I'm talking about like we're having to like divorce ourselves from production ideas, from story, from anything of that, and just look at what is there. It becomes clear that Leia was sending her to Luke because Leia didn't think she could train her. She doesn't think she's the Last Jedi almost. And so she's sending her to Luke. I mean, that really is kind of
weird though, Jason, because like when you get there, he's in Jedi robes. And then after Ryan continues that scene, he has to go to a hut and get back into the clothes he would have been wearing if he had like if he had been like abandoned. And if Luke is abandoning the Force, he never would have gone to the planet in which it was incepted from. He would have gone to the furthest planet from it. You know.
But once again, okay. But you're going with like production reasons now. Why you know why? But they did.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the story.
Okay, yeah. In the story, the backstory that was like told us that he was gonna end it. He was putting the old clothes on to end it, and then Rey shows up. The Force, all praise it, is magical. It brought, you know what I mean. So it's like
he was going to commit seppuku right at that very moment she showed up.
She was, he was
going. Rey?
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, here's a lightsaber. Not
clear in the movie.
Here's a lightsaber. Do it, do it, bitch. You scared, little bitch? Do it. No, that's what Luke must have been thinking. If you want to really take that all the way to the conclusion, but yeah, but I mean, you know, I can roll with like what's there, and then you know, it does. You can find a logic to it, but once again, I mean, I agree. It is what it is. I mean.
It's what it is. It's just it's a mixed bag of people not being able to decide one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But I do think though, I still think that it is very easy though. This one I think is easy, that Leia wants Luke to come back. Leia doesn't want Luke to be on Octu. Leia doesn't want Luke to be a fucking quitter. Leia wants Luke to forgive himself, and Leia wants, you know, everything to go back to the way it should be. And I think she knows when that girl shows up, because they both know, and this was in the edit of the original version or an earlier edit of the movie, and it's still in there to some extent, but they both know that she was a Palpatine from the second that they meet her. When they meet her, they just instinctively know what she is. And Luke figures it out entirely when she goes right to the dark side hole on Octu. That is the backstory. And people for years have asked me, was that always the plan, that she was a Palpatine? Yes, but wasn't always the only plan. They always had a few different ways of taking it. So were there always things laid out for that story? To some extent, yeah, they never closed the doors on it, and then they went with it. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a little bit more complicated than just saying, yeah, it always was, or no, it never was. It's like, yeah, but not only that. So, you know, they were all over the place. Luke says, I hope we get to see at least a scene of the Inquisitors in their helmets. I would also love to see Reva or Nari's character more fleshed out, shows like The Bad Batch.
You know, one of the things I'm really interested about with the Book of Boba Fett is that they have all these scenes without his helmet on, right? And one could say it's you know, the old argument is, well, that's how you gotta like. I'm not doing Lucas's voice because he doesn't care. Is that's how you got to emote. You got to be able to see the face. You got to be able to relate. It would be ridiculous to have two people with masks talking. And then when you get to episode 6, you have that whole Mando with Jon Favreau's Mando and the armor. They're all in helmets, having subdued, subtle conversations that work just fine. Yeah. Like, you can leave the helmet on. Like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Like, it's not, doesn't all have to be goofy. It's just how you cut it, how you shoot it. You know,
well, yeah, like I did. What's that? I'm drawing a blank on the term right now. I did a whole video about it though, about how Luke Skywalker has no lines when his family dies, but they use between implication of the editing. It says a lot. They do it with C-3PO and Star Wars. It totally works. That's why Mando, I think, actually works better than certain moments in like Book of Boba Fett, even because he has the helmets on. You are putting the performance in there. You're making it what you need. The helmet is giving you what you need it to give you, and then with the implication of the music and what the moments before. So, yeah, I find it interesting. I'm not so sure we're gonna get those helmets though, Luke. I'm kind of highly
big
doubting
bulbous
it.
helmet. He might end up looking like Darth Helmet, right?
Well, chances
Like
are
with
if
the
he wear,
gland.
yeah, I guess you would have to probably show him take it and put it on or take it off to like know who he was. But I know, I mean, I'm pretty damn sure Reva's not going to be wearing one.
He might have to have one that go back further. I don't know, man. When you got a big helmet like that, you could really end up looking like Dark Helmet. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe they did that. Maybe they saw what that looked like. You know, not in a cartoon, like in a drawing. It's like I love Street Fighter. Works brilliantly in a video game. Works brilliant in anime. I don't want Street Fighter in real life. I've seen them all try it. It doesn't work well. They're too caricature-y. And
ironically,
so the Rebels cartoon,
you would need Dawson to play the Inquisitor in real life to get that body that he has in the cartoon.
there is a funny like college humor like thing where it was like
Yes.
Dalsim,
And it was
like
with
a cab driver.
with Nanjiani.
Oh,
wasn't
was it?
I think it
I don't
was.
remember. I just remember
Yeah.
it was really great. It was really great.
Yeah,
But I mean,
I think he plays him.
In a serious realm where his head's already that big. Like once you put a helmet on that, like unless it has to be like maybe if it were like one of those like the Big Trouble in Little China, you know, like if it was like this kind of thing where it came down, like it has to be really designed.
Yeah.
Because if it's just a Vader style helmet, but he's got
Yeah.
oh man, it's not good. And so yeah, whatever.
I know. I almost think the Grand Inquisitor would look cool if he had like a crown on, like a king, like something opulent. Arya says, "How can Transformers create the most realistic combat footage in CGI for 100 million, but Star Wars can barely create any insane combat since Revenge of the Sith? What's going on?"
One?
Yeah.
Can I start with this one? I'll tell you, Arya. First, you need to understand Transformers takes place in our world. So a majority of that footage you're seeing is them shooting out in LA on the highways, right? Where they take real live trucks and crash through stuff and then take a section of that and put a robot into it. So you're getting all this real pyrotechnic around it. Star Wars is more like animation where it has to be 100% handcraft. Everything has to be built. To do a big sequence like that is even 10 times more difficult when everything around it, unless it's a desert, so it's a desert planet, has to be crafted and designed. It's a way more complicated, which is why when the Bumblebee movie did that opening sequence, they left it small, small sequence. So also, I would say like the big Bayhem stuff is it's not you don't want that in a lot of Star Wars stuff, man. It's, you get a little bit of that in that opening stuff to like the Revenge of the Sith, where you don't know where to look, you know, and I don't want that in Star Wars. But in terms of just the tactfulness of it, they'd have to do a lot more. It's just harder. Star Wars is really hard to make. Like I really recommend pouring through those photo archive books and the Rinsler books to get a good sense of. Nothing's changed. It's still hard. It's still super hard to get.
I would also say that Transformers puts all of its eggs in that basket and then really has very little solid story or anything else for that matter.
Zero story. And Rogue One had great combat, but it's more of the Gilroy and them, however they constructed it, it's more of the classical, I say the James Cameron style coverage where you have geography and you're trying to get to a place. Everyone knows where they're trying to go and you follow characters going to a location. Then you set up, set piece, something else happens, we have to get to another location. It's very, you got your geography, you know where you're needing to go, and you're getting there. It's Star Wars Transformers is just blown up, motherfucker. Like
right.
You know? Yeah.
So here we can see the scythe, the Lego scythe.
When that ship goes over to Mos Eisley, Like it straight up is the Batman little Batwing, right? Like
Yeah, I dig it. I like it.
Yeah. I never
Like
thought I'd
there's
get this much Batman in Star Wars. Because I mean the Batwing to me, the 89 Batwing, is as close it's as good as an X-Wing fighter or an N95 starfighter. It's a Star Warsy a thing. The guy who designed that also designed the Batmobile is like one dude.
yeah.
And like it's just so good, that Batwing. So this is like getting a little bit of that Batwing flavor in here.
I'm gonna say that that
Why
this
did
probably confirms that they don't get helmets too, because I think it would be a lot
they don't get
easier
helmets.
to do them with helmets. And yeah,
Do you think they'll get the little Lego knot top in the live action?
Yeah.
Someday someone's gonna make the live action Lego movie where it's all like people with little Lego knot tops in their heads and shit.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It is cool little Lego set though.
Yeah, like
How much
like
this
little-
run for? $99?
I think this is I think it's around the $100 price point. But you can see like all three of them there. Oh, look at Reva driving because she's the main character. And then I guess that's the bottom of it.
All right.
Little missiles coming out. So yeah.
It's the simpleness of the shape is very 77.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who recently the guy who just recently passed away? He did a lot of the early designs for the X-Wings and stuff too. It's right out of his kind of playbook of design, you know?
Yeah.
Pretty
yeah,
cool.
it's good. Yeah, I like that. It has a really 80s kind of toy vibe to it. It reminds me a little bit of the Starcom toys I used to play with too, which was a great toy line.
It's just a shame we only get the ships and Legos with the way the financials work out.
Yeah. It actually I think it actually hurts. It's one of the reasons why kids don't play with toys. They took away a lot of the most fun parts of it. Action figures and stuff. Also the fact that they cost like $15, you know, that's a bit much.
Legos are $100 though, so I don't know, man.
Legos are $100, but the replay value is really insane. I'm not even trying to make an argument for the great thing though, the great price points of Legos. My point is though, is that 3 action figures is like a video game. It's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. But 2002 movies, Gangs of New York, Catch Me If You Can. I love that one. Road to Perdition, it's okay. It was good when it came out. I don't know if I still love it.
I like Gangs of New York in that if you think about it more like a graphic novel, it's the closest thing to a comic book movie that Scorsese's ever made. Obviously, Cameron Diaz was horribly miscast in the role that she was in. Right?
Yeah.
People love to complain about Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's accents and Far and Away. Way better than whatever she was trying to do. But the thing that Gangs of New York does that I really like is Daniel Day-Lewis's like, these immigrants need to get out of we're the firstborn of America shit, that, you know, this xenophobic immigrant shit, just it goes back and back and back, you know. So I do appreciate it for that. It's fun watch. Man, look at Kung Pao. I actually like that movie.
I pretty much on this list though, Signs and Catch Me If You Can are the pretty much outside of Star Wars that I care about personally.
But out of all these movies, no one's quoting Gangs in New York often in casual conversation. Like Spider-Man gets a few quotes, you know. 8 Mile gets the music won't ever go away, right? It's such a good song.
So Best Spin Bulletin, woke up to this today from him. And Aria just sent it to me. Thank you, Aria, for also sending it our way, though. First look at Darth Vader in Fortnite supposedly leaked. Last night, an image showcasing the Battle Pass for Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 3 appeared on 4chan. I know. And has quickly made its way around social media this morning. Usually I dismiss any leak coming from 4chan, but various Fortnite insiders, including HypeX and Shania, have claimed that the chances of the image being fake are extremely low. The image offers our first look at Darth Vader's skin and in the game, and confirms, if legitimate, that the dark side or the Dark Lord of the Sith will be part of the next season's Battle Pass, and not a skin you buy separately in the Fortnite item shop. It also
I gotta mute this while I not give a shit. Hold on.
It would also end speculation that Vader's ties to the Battle Pass would be linked to completing challenges, as that spot is simply taken by Indiana Jones, who was also rumored to appear in the next season. And so you could see Vader, he's got himself a little girlfriend here, And we got Indiana Jones, and it does look like it's on, or like it's like legit. I mean, that Indiana
Here's a good one.
Jones.
All right, I'm trying to feed the algorithm here with this announcement. Hold on.
What? Oh my God! Indiana Jones! So, yeah. So,
That doesn't
so
work. I don't.
Darth Vader has been rumored for a while. It was spotted during an unofficial Unreal Engine live stream. Donald Mustard has been teasing Star Wars content
Colonel
coming
Mustard.
to Fortnite. That's what I always call him, for a number of months. And for a few days ago, shared an image of an AT-AT, a vehicle he posted multiple times, which has now led fans to speculate if the Walker will be featured in Fortnite's next season. I hope so. They have done some pretty complex vehicles before, so I think it's completely possible. But yeah, so between Vader, Indiana Jones, and Kenobi, that's a pretty good little run for me. I'm happy. And we didn't get our Obi-Wan Kenobi for free though, so I'm still mad about that. So Mark says, "Damn, Star Wars Theory is going to be angry that Hayden likes his most hated film, especially since he treats Hayden as a god." That's weird. Really? Okay. The Young Boomer, the crate map in Battlefront 2 was excellent too. It was. I went out of my way to max Phasma out as a hero too, and she was so shit on release that she seemed to be made of glass. Yeah, they had some balancing issues
All the
for a while.
environments from the prequels are great maps in a video game. I'm not disputing the design of locations. You know, it's.
I don't know if he's calling you out there. I think he's just saying like it was Last Jedi.
He's just saying the Last Jedi is great too because the crate map was excellent. But I get all that. Like has there been a location in a Star Wars movie where like I hope I never have to fucking play that in a video game ever again?
I don't know. I would say that crate is probably the most visually striking new world they did since the prequels, though. I think that one wins the sequel trilogy worlds. That ash with the red underneath. And that is pretty
100%.
Cool.
Yeah.
Peter Griffin says, when we do Santa's homework, you can post the link so I can do mine as well. Oh yeah, we could do that today because tomorrow we'll likely have a lot. Maybe we'll do that in just a minute here. Here I'm gonna go over to Santa's Discord, which is a really good Discord, by the way. I'm not a big Discord guy, but it is a good one. And let me see if is it an announcements? Man, Santa, I don't know where Santa puts his stuff. I don't know what
up your butt and around the corner, Jason.
Yeah. Man, Santa, why you being so mean about it, Santa? Like, I don't know where it is, Santa. Wait, is it an Obi-Wan Kenobi spoilers? No, it's not.
Bet you if I hid that in a Burger King combo meal, you'd find it, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, Santa. Santa, shame on you attacking another man's weight.
All right. Is it?
What are you doing?
It's not an announcements. So I mean, it's probably like buried. That's my only critique of the Santa Discord is there's just too much shit going on. Like there's like a broom for everything. It's like, come on, Santa, I'm confused. Santa, you're the new Vanity Fair.
The mint candy canes or the fruity ones? I like the fruity ones.
I'm a mint guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have a willow room though, so
I like mint ice cream, but I don't like mint candy canes.
No. Yeah.
Born Identity would be my favorite film of 2002, followed by Catch Me If You Can and Two Towers. Sure.
Yeah, Catch Me If You Can is
top tier for me.
And surprisingly, I would say Catch Me If You Can is probably John Williams' coolest. Like, whoa, didn't see that coming soundtrack. You know what I mean? By far.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I still watch it.
Yeah.
It's in my extended playlist. The Spider-Man gets quoted. But I didn't say no movie. I'm seeing a lot of them popular films. I mean, considering how much people hated considering how much people hated the prequels, the fact that it gets quoted more than most films of that generation is shocking.
Yeah.
You know?
So Tyrant says we're tripping.
Okay, but Two Towers and Return of the King quotes,
yeah,
they dropped memes. I don't know if they dropped quotes. I think from the first film.
Yeah, I'm not willing to die on the hill over it, so I'll say okay.
I'll
Aria says
die right on that hill.
there's 500 interviews of Hayden and Ewan asking the same fucking question, but finally one asked if George Lucas had a say in this, and Ewan confirmed that KK, Deborah, and George talked about the show. That's cool. Yeah, I was watching
I
a
said
bunch of them
why.
in the last couple of days, and man, Ewan, I gotta say, I love Ewan McGregor for an actor. He's one of the least phony guys out there. But if I have to see him feign, oh, the Darth Vader came out and I was scared one more time, I'm gonna fucking rip my
He's
eyes
saying
out.
that,
So,
huh?
yeah, and
Attack
yeah,
of the Clones. It's my favorite
Attack of the
Ewan
Clones.
interview of all time when he was at the premiere of Moulin Rouge and they told him the title and he goes, "What? No, Attack of the Clones."
He goes, that's terrible, or something like that. I
It's
think.
terrible.
Yeah.
I remember where I was sitting, looking at the TV. I was like, "This motherfucker, this is hilarious."
Isn't Village Roadshow suing Warner for Matrix Resurrections?
Yeah, but for not releasing it into theaters and losing possible revenue. Not how much? Why does the movie look like you spent $60 million instead of $300 million?
It looks like a TV show of The Matrix. Yeah, it's not a good
Yeah.
looking movie either.
And I would go to say a CW TV show of The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Matrix 4 is the story and acting were fine, yet not
Oh, yeah.
with. Yeah, I couldn't. I thought it was really one of the worst movies of that size, scale, and expectation I could remember seeing. In fact, I would say the people that are hyperbolic about the sequel trilogy should just watch The Matrix 4 and then fucking just sit down and be fucking happy. Could have went a lot
Watching
worse.
how they like the game devs see, I just like, this is like a playbook for Republicans when they complain and they try to shirk gun responsibility to video game developers. I don't want to, like, this literally is, it's right out of that what was that guy in 2004, the hot coffee motherfucker who was going around, that lawyer, Jack Thompson. It's like that Jack Thompson school of video game developer in their heads, you know? And then no, it's not about game developers. It's supposed to it's supposed to be the guy who's online. I don't care whatever meta thing she was trying to write. It didn't work.
I like ham and pineapple on my pizza. I do.
They call that the Hawaiian pizza at Domino's. Canadian bacon is what they would cook in ham. Canadian bacon.
It's made Liam think about the Pineapple Express movie. Darren says Ray definitely had one of the coolest sabers, but we only seen it at the end of Rise. Yeah, which realistically we will probably end up seeing more of that fucking yellow saber in the big picture. I imagine that, you know, she'll be back in a bunch of things and we'll see it all the time. And
I'm
actually
had it at the beginning of the movie though. There was no, didn't have to be a big Luke Skywalker reveal moment. Could have just had it.
Yeah.
No reason for it.
The I will say, I do wonder how it looks clashing with the red lightsaber, and if at the end of the day that may really be a reason, you know, because like in my mind, it doesn't look good.
It's fine.
You know,
Artists are brilliant, Jason. Artists make everything work. They're so good. It would look fine.
But you know, this little poster over here with like the red and the blue, pretty cool. So. Oh yeah, Ray definitely had one of the coolest sabers. Oh yeah, and then imagine not seeing Step Brothers. Fuck, says Darth. Yeah, he will love it. We should watch it.
There's a lot of that. I like Will Ferrell. I love Anchorman, but there was that period of SNL in the late '90s where everyone was just yelling to be funny and like doing like the cheerleader skit where they're just doing awkward sexual humor and yelling. The Chris Kattan.
This is
the chick that played.
This isn't that era.
I know, but hold on. I'm biased against it. That's why I didn't bother. I'm not saying that's it. But the what was the actress that in SNL? She was Larry David. She was that babysitter. No, she was the she played the babysitter in one of the episodes of Curb, which is this crazy babysitter.
Yeah.
And in that episode, you could see her doing that SNL crazy acting thing. And so it just put me off a lot to that kind of stuff. And so the way that film was marketed, it looked like him and John
Yeah.
C. O'Reilly were going to be doing that, and I'm not out for this. I've heard
No.
otherwise. I'll get to
No,
it.
yeah, it is so good. There's this like moment where he leaves and he's like, John C. Reilly's like, don't touch my drum set. And then he leaves. And then when he leaves, he's like playing his drum set and bringing his balls all over the drum set. And he goes back down and he's laying down. And John C. Reilly comes back and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, just was watching Cops. But then he knows he's lying because Cops is on at 4. Like that's just it's just so stupid. It's just so fucking stupid. And then they get into a big fight. But yeah, it's definitely I would say
So
Step Brothers I probably like better than Anchorman, but I'd say Step Brothers, Anchorman, and Talladega Nights are like pretty much all that I really need from Will Ferrell in terms of film. I think, top of my head.
So there was a lot of good comedians, like Molly Shannon was great. Will Ferrell was great. It's just that a lot of that humor was just, let me just yell and make sexual humor. And it was like this, it was almost like the first 4 years of the 90s as distilled through an Adam Sandler parody sketch. You know what I mean? Like it was just a type of humor that it's either you're for it or not. And I had moved on to the humor of Conan O'Brien by that time, like, so
Fair
whatever.
enough.
A little more subdued.
Tyrant says everybody needs to see Step Brothers. Also watch Will Ferrell's Stagecoach Goodbye called W. Okay, I haven't seen it.
Love Elf.
I like Elf. I wouldn't say I love it, but I say I like it. Liam says I write in first person mode for all my characters.
I just like FPS means has got like the Halo gun.
I've got to go back to Better Call Saul. Only watched 2 episodes. Yeah, my thing with Better Call Saul was not about Better Call Saul itself. It was going on the Breaking Bad kind of ride, if you will, and then right after that, pretty much going like, okay, let's go do it again differently. And I was just like, I don't think I got this in me right now. You know what I mean? But now that I haven't watched Breaking Bad in quite a while, I do feel like I'm ready to watch Better Call Saul. And I know that Better Call Saul.
Breaking Bad feels like you're on the giant biggest sugar high ever. This is a definite different vibe. This is a slow burn. This is way different.
Yeah.
And then it picks up as it goes along. But it's one of the few times where I'm like, they actually made a prequel. The only thing about they made a prequel. Let me finish what I'm saying. They made a prequel in which you can see a character go from one end to the other, and it make total logical sense.
Right.
That being said, the only thing about Better Call Saul you have to like let go is they don't even bother trying to de-age the characters. When you see a 50-year-old man in 1992, he's still 50 in 2004. You just use your Howard Stern private parts imagination.
That's fine.
They don't even, that's fine.
Yeah. I could roll with it.
Yeah, and I'm glad they didn't even bother trying. So like they do, like they show some of them when they're kids and they cast appropriately, and for that the casting's brilliant. Like I really think casting people should be getting Oscars and Emmys and shit like that. Like, like seriously.
Raider says you have something wrong with you if you like The Last Jedi. You're gonna have to talk to Hayden Christensen about that. Sorry, Raider.
Says the guy with the Cobra symbol with the Decepticon logo in the center. I'll take your advice, Starscream.
It's gonna be pretty cool when I go put this Cobra symbol as my avatar, and then I fucking school people on what's right on the internet.
And I'm gonna put a Decepticon logo in it so they're merged. It's both my favorite toys.
The thing about me is I'm more than meets the eye. Real Ben Manis says, well, Hayden likes The Last Jedi. Hey, Hayden likes The Last Jedi. If he does, cool. Also, a Star Wars employee supporting their employees' past project sounds legit as well. Good point.
Yeah, I know, right?
I just think people are using this to stir up lame drama. Oh yeah, I'm definitely teasing the people who took it too seriously.
And I could see some guys going, "Hey, I'm not just being mean to black people. I pick on the white guy too."
I'm a total Biff Tannen to everybody. I literally I pull up people's underwear real hard. I don't care what color, race, age they are. I don't care. I did to an old lady one time. I'm just that kind of guy. So
make like a Liam and pee your pants. What?
Joel loves The Last Jedi. I do too. And then Ben says, and it's totally fine. You like The Last Jedi a lot. Everybody can have different opinions. That's the best part about movies.
It's okay to like a movie.
It is.
We live in.
Well, it is true. If we all just agreed about every single aspect of everything, we'd have nothing to talk about. there is a difference when you start saying that somebody has a problem because they have.
Might I take this opportunity, Jason, to also say it's okay to like Avatar.
It's okay to like Avatar. You can like Avatar,
and Friends.
You can. You can be like, you know what? I think it would be really cool if they took Dances with Wolves and they made it like with Star Warsy stuff. That'd be cool.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, works perfectly.
They agree. By the way, did I ever tell you about like when I went to the Savaja press screening? Avatar had just come out, and Filoni had just seen it, and he would not stop talking about it.
Oh,
like Avatar blew Filoni's hat off. Like it was like, it flew right off his head. Yeah. He was into it, man. Like he was really, really into it.
Awesome.
Awesome. Griffin says, I kind of want to burn my copy of Bloodlines. Ha ha ha. Hey, whatever you want to do.
I like it. I thought the battle at the ending was poorly constructed, not the writing of it.
I don't like battles in Star Wars books. It's the most boring thing to read about a battle in the whole world for me, usually. You know what I mean? Like
Thrawn did a great job with the battle. I mean, Zahn, but he was really writing space military books. You know what I mean? Like,
also, I will say, I don't disagree, but it's like that one moment. And then I read like 75 other Star Wars books where it was just not working ever. So
the parts where Zahn kind of suffers a bit is when the character's by themselves, you know, and he gets the military. It's almost like if you could just pair, like if Claudia Gray like wrote a first draft and then like Zahn wrote all the. I'm not saying these two people, but like
you're saying to pair him, then he can't be Zahn Solo.
I know, but then they're like, "There's no money for that, Rob. Royalties wouldn't work out." Well, I'm like, "Well, if he sold 20 million more books, like I don't know, you know, it's just
if they got married. If they got married,
tried writing both.
They would both own it.
The problem with writing space battles is people expect them to be nautical or military, naval situations, right? In space, and so they get all hung up on like port. So all the fucking military terms for the way shit flies, and I just want the ship to go pew pew zoom zoom. I don't really give two shits about, you know, like and if you construct the pieces out, but they expect you to know all that stuff. So it is. I do wish Marvel has this in-house writing studio, the way they have a visual development studio, and I almost wish these publishers had people that were like specialized in that so they could get those drafts and then like help construct it a little bit more so the person writing it doesn't have to fucking then go learn all that military shit to figure out a cool idea for a space battle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, other than that, man, that book was fucking dope. Like,
Tommy Hilfiger says, be sure to explain to your son Ukraine was bombing the Donbass for 8 straight years, slaughtering 15,000. Well, I would tell my son that 2 wrongs don't make a right. That's what I would tell my son. Thomas Harris says, only 2 more days. We are almost there, Thomas. I gotta be honest. Be careful. Don't put your Filoni hat on because it might blow it off like Avatar blew off Filoni's hat. That might happen to you.
Star Wars. What aboutism?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then your hat might blow off. Your co-pilot might fly into it after a flat spin, and you might lose your goose. Saying. Tyrant says, now imagine if you show your kid Iron Eagle after instilling in them the complex dynamics of U.S. Middle Eastern relations and why we by no means have clean hands. Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not saying that. I've studied transnationalism a lot actually in my past, and through pop culture and American studies. And there's a couple of, if you are interested in it, I will recommend a couple of books about that, like about how Iron Eagle, Rambo 3, all of these things were actually giving tax incentives to further this notion that did lead to the Iraq War of them kind of needing our intervention. There was a project that was created through think tanks in the 80s and culminates in the 9/11.
But when it comes to combating xenophobic inter-country relations, I highly recommend Iron Eagle too. Like, although they killed Doug Masters, which just angers me to no end, the having to team up with the Russians and then all the stereotypes that they throw at one another and then having to work together, is a more moralistic message. But that first Iron Eagle movie's hilarious because the guy who plays David Suchet plays basically Saddam Hussein. And, you know,
Yeah.
and he's the penultimate Poirot. So it's just funny watching Poirot time and time again, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, with the little gray cells, tell him, dog masters with your little gray cells. Mon ami, dog masters.
What the fuck? There's a book. Yeah, here it is right here. Epic Encounters, Culture, Media, and U.S. Interest in the Middle East since 1945 by Melanie McAllister. Really, really good book if you are interested in this topic. So, okay. Yeah, damn, paywalls. And Griffin Campbell says, what's the difference between Mike Zero and Star Wars Theory? There really isn't one. The big difference is that Star Wars Theory says he's theorizing. Mike Zero says he's reporting the news. So that's okay. And then I guess, but the other difference is that, yeah, you know.
What was that? I said there's a Darth Vader. Could type in like Darth Vader Mike Zero rumors or something. It's this great like minute sketch someone did where it's Vader in his Empire Strikes Back chamber. And he goes, guy comes in, hey, there's a new theory about the Last Jedi. And he goes, oh, he does have strong ties to the Dragon Ball Z and Sonic communities. Like, and then it's Mike Zero giving a theory about how like it's Vader's skull or some bullshit rumor that was in the Last Jedi trying to be false. And he goes, my skull? That's the fucking like.
Makes sense.
It's good.
Joel says, I hope you're wrong. I seriously love the story. That I hate sand scene is my favorite scene in the whole saga. Attack of the Clones has depth and nuance a lot of people don't pick up on. Oh no, I totally know what you mean. I totally do. I don't think it's like a throwaway movie at all. I don't think that. It just didn't do what Lucas wanted. It didn't come out with the potency that he was hoping for, is what I would say.
Yeah, the overwhelming consensus is it didn't work.
Yeah.
I envy people it did work for, because then I wouldn't have to be like, I'm not watching that again.
Yeah.
So.
Ben says, I personally don't mind Theory because he has differing opinions. Doesn't mean he's spreading fake information. Haha. His channel is literally called Theory, so he makes videos about what he would like. Yeah, and I think that's completely fine. I do think when you go like, he does do a thing every now and then though that kind of like annoys me or I disagree with, is when he says like with Reva, like Star Wars is the story of Anakin and Obi-Wan, like that's what it is. And it's like, no, you just made that arbitrary rule up. That's not theorizing. That's just you like literally saying what is, and that's just so that drives me crazy. But Giga Chad says, I think Star Wars Theory is one of the main reasons the fan base is so toxic.
Giga Chad. I don't know enough about them to know. I just know the clip in which Josh or whatever the heck his name is saying the Revish shit, and there's a guy to the left of him that's like just there, like passively letting it go across, you know, like he's cool with it. And they tell me that's Star Wars Theory. And if that's you, you're a douche. There.
Yeah, I would say that when you have like 3 million subscribers and that kind of thing, you do have a bit of a responsibility to be a little bit more careful when dog whistling, and whether you mean to or not. If you mean to, then I guess you're just doing what you want to do. But you did take part in dog whistling a bunch of racist people, and Josh just tries to play both sides. It's very apparent. Junkbox says, I have faith in time they will flesh out the sequel trilogy with expanded universe material, just as they have done with the prequels. Yeah, I mean, there really could be a Clone Wars show that comes out and does sort of like fix it all up for me, because the thing about it is like a lot of people, maybe Rob, will go, there was 3 films and they said it was 3 films and it wasn't. Now I'm mad. I'll never fucking let it be fixed. I'm going to leave it as it, but it's like in reality, there's all this ancillary material that can make it better. And I'm okay with that. So it works for me. Like the prequels were never broken to me for the start. I liked them, but they were made better by the Clone Wars.
Yeah. I don't care for any of the protagonists of the Clone Wars. I'm not interested in Anakin. Him and Obi-Wan have no friendship. The closest I can get out of it is that I myself have experienced this friendship fall apart in real life.
They fixed that.
So I hear all of that, Jason. So
you hear it,
I'm
but
just
not
interested. I don't have to. I just don't have to.
Well, Well,
I
you-
would
mean,
be
you can just
interested
say
in.
that,
I
but-
told you, I would be interested in seeing them use the Mandoverse to culminate with the Battle of Jakku, and then continue the sequel storyline with those actors because there are protagonists. In that
Battle
storyline
of
I do
Jakku's
care
already happened in Mando. It's 1 year after Return of the Jedi that Battle of Jakku
Oh, it
happens.
is?
It's already happened.
Well,
yeah.
then never mind. Fuck it. I don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah, we're already past
We're past it. Never mind.
Okay.
Their timelines are stupid. Change the timeline.
Giga Chad says, I mean, he is friends with geeks and gamers after all. Yeah, that's sincere guy. Anakin Skywalker says, hello there. Hey, how's it going, Anakin? I heard you like The Last Jedi. Junkbox says,
General Mai Shiryu.
hey, Marty, how's it going?
Armor of Mars.
How does Star Wars theory make anyone toxic? That's a bizarre statement. Okay, once again, I'm not going with it. I'm not saying that Star Wars theory is making anybody toxic, but you can like I would say Josh goes through, and then he's the one who permeated like the Rev as the main character, that it's a bait and switch. I didn't even want it. Somebody sent me today things from his Discord where he's going, the bait and switch, based off of the fact that they're making like a really expensive Reva lightsaber. And so he does that and he gets them riled up, but then you give them a platform. Now, this whole thing of giving people a platform, that's a complicated and slippery slope, because you can literally discuss something, give it a platform, and then discuss it with reason and literally help your audience come to the conclusions that they should if they are weak-minded. But does he do that? I really can't say. That's up for you to decide. I'm not trying to sit on the fence, but it's definitely not really for me for the most part. Yeah, so what's so toxic about theory? And I would say stuff like the Reva stuff took off because of that show. There is no denying it. They were the ones who did give that thing a platform. And to what level of responsibility? Well, I'd say it was Josh. I'd say Josh is responsible for that. But then, but does Josh have access to Theory's 3 million subscribers without? No, he doesn't. So, but I'll let you guys make up your mind on that. So,
Master or apprentice?
Tyrant says, what's so toxic about cyanide? No clue. Here, eat this. Giga Chat says he constantly bitches and moans about everything and proceeds to make shit worse than Disney has made. Yeah, doesn't seem very enthusiastic to me. I personally, and this isn't even against him, I don't care. I don't really watch a show except for when they start covering my shit incorrectly, for the most part. I would, if I was going to follow anything, or when I do follow anything based on something I like, I want the people to be enthusiastic about the general. Like if his show was just a prequel show, it'd be probably fine. He just was talking about the prequels all the time, but you're literally watching someone that's like doesn't like modern Star Wars, generally speaking, talking about how what it should be. And hey, his fan film got him a lot of people watched it. I don't like it. I thought that was, if it was a real Star Wars offering, I wouldn't have liked it. So in a weird way, it kind of proves to me, I was like, man, I never want to make a fan film, because in all of my opinions, I'll have to like literally go like, this is what I do with my opinions. And so I just wasn't a fan of it. But that doesn't mean I don't respect the love, effort, and stuff that went into somebody doing that. I do. Real Ben Maynard says people don't like Theory because he's just straightforward and tells his opinion, and it's unpopular to talk badly about The Last Jedi, but that's the plain truth to the above comments. No, but he was like, I don't even give a shit if he likes The Last Jedi or not. To me, like the annoying thing was the Reva stuff that just happened. Like, you're like, that idea might have been true a year ago.
I don't like The Last Jedi,
but yeah, I know you don't. And you're on the show every
and you
day.
don't see me, and I'm on the show every day, like having a sane conversation with you that's not perpetuating bullshit talking points someone came up with so that you just spout out like a little fucking robot.
Yeah. It's like we're not trying to manipulate you into getting mad and paying us, so we keep telling you what you want to hear.
Don't agree with me. I don't care.
But yeah, same. Like, oh well, whatever. You're fucking wrong, Rob. Real Ben Hater says someone literally called me.
My
sexist
wife agrees.
just because I thought The Last Jedi was not great, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Just because I have a different film opinion. I literally love Rey. Yeah, well, you know what, dude? My experience with that was The Last Jedi was coming out, and I was getting people like literally literally being sexist, like undeniable. People like calling Holdo a cunt and so on, going like down that route, and just really laying in racism and sexism. And then they team up with those guys, and they're just like, well, I just don't like the movie. And it's like, yeah, you know what? It's a little bit like this. I knew somebody once whose family was in the KKK in the past, like their ancestry. And they were like, yeah, but my family was only because of the political aims that we did agree with. The racism we didn't actually agree with. And I was like,
the political aims were the racism.
Well, I'm not trying to fucking, you see where I'm going with it though? It's like you're literally aligning yourself with the KKK to say you don't like a movie. At that point, your fucking opinion is double trash to me. At that point is where I'm coming at it from. So most fan films I've seen are terribly written. I can't lie. I once again, I respect anybody whose passion and experimentation with the fan film wants to go that way. I have never liked a fan film. And I will probably never like one because they are they're not made at the same quality. I don't have the money. They just can't do it.
Most films are terribly written. This is why there are tens of thousands of scripts produced every year and only 100 films get made. John Campea actually clarifies this point very well to folks. And I have to, if you've ever had a script reading job, I haven't. I was offered one. I didn't want it. My buddy got it. Almost went fucking nuts because you got to read fucking scripts endlessly all day. I don't want that fucking job. But fan films are usually written by one person, two people, and they don't go through very many real drafts. And drafts in like they're being held to like a studio had to read it, and a producer had to read it, and the producer's nephew had to read it. Like dozens of people had to read it, and then another person had to take it, another person had to take it. These go through so many iterations, which is why when Lucas wrote the first Star Wars draft, The Adventures of the Star Killer, not good. It doesn't look anything like the movie that took off. And had he made that film in 1975, 76, when he initially wanted to, it would not have been like a cultural phenomenon.
It would have been Logan's Run. It would have been a Logan's Run caliber film.
Yeah.
Zardoz.
So most films it's not that fans can't do it. It's that they don't have access to the pipeline that is over 100 years now is developed to try to get the films as good as they can be. But it is and plus, as anyone who's ever written anything like a screenplay, comic book script is not any that different in that you can write all the scenes you want. You got one page to put that on, man. Mm-hmm. You know, you write all the scene you want. You have this much time to do it in.
Yeah, you know? There's only so much data that's going to be conveyed in a panel or a frame or a second. It is so
difficult. That whittling down that process is extremely. It's more time than the actual creation of it. And then once you whittle it down, does it even look like the thing you resembled in your head? Did it convey the emotion you wanted the audience to feel? Making things of quality is hard. If it were easy, they wouldn't be hiring people. The studios would just be making it themselves. You know, why share the money? Tough.
Yeah. Fan films. I used to be a big fan of Liquid Television, which was like a, early 90s animation show on MTV that come on late at night. And it would have like just all kinds of Beavis and Butthead style stuff. And you would see like these like weird, almost anime-esque things. And it would be like, you could tell Ian Flex, like the animator just really wanted to watch a fly walk over a woman's eye. They just wanted an excuse to like draw that, and they thought it would look visually cool. And then they would just kind of fit in the rest to kind of like connect with it, like loosely in some way. Usually it was like, okay, but it was like cool because it was about that. Fan films usually suffer from that very same kind of thing. Like, I think it would be really cool if like, like Ara Singh was like doing this thing and fixing her belt, and then she stabs the clone who tries to kill her. And it's like that one idea. You could just tell it's the whole inspiration for the whole thing, and then everything else is just hung. It's like a Christmas tree ornaments of ideas on a Christmas tree, and it's a really Charlie Brown Christmas tree though.
When I was collaborating with my friend on a fan film back in '98, I knew we could only do it through animatic form. So I was like, this will be real limited, but I wanted to do full color animatic. It wasn't called animatic, but storyboards. Like, because I knew that's like, if you just took frame to frame to frame, the way you would do an animated film, but just frame, cut, hold it, frame, and then we can make that. But like even working with one other person, the dude was like, since he was gonna do that animation part, right? Like, and I would draw backgrounds and he would do the animation part. Even that, like when I was writing it, I had to get his approval on. He had, well, I will only work on it if the main character is called Ben Starkiller. I hate that fucking name. We already got a Ben in Star Wars, and I don't like the Starkiller name. I don't think people can call a dude Starkiller with a straight face, you know. But like, I had to like that was his one, and he had to be like. He wanted him to be a failed Jedi. I got rid of that shit, but that's where the Taras Kasi stuff came in. But it was like even like just collaborating with one person who's like, I won't work on it unless. I mean, it's not like I can't imagine it can't be too different than a band where like a person wants to write or have co leadership, right? Like you have to then make concessions with the group to get that project through the door, you know. And it's like
people need to kind of agree on what their roles are going to be and the parameters of that, or it just ends up not. It either falls into place or it doesn't, though.
Right.
He's a stupid prequel fanboy and defends shit dialogue from the prequels and then proceeds to bitch about somehow Palpatine has returned. I don't think anybody is defending prequel dialogue. Ryoko says, look, it's simple. What he says is better. It's just his opinion. In theory, is always straight about it. Okay.
I'm not turning into the theory show. Hey, I will say this about prequel dialogue. The Yoda line of fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering is the best Yoda line of all the prequels. Is not written in that weird Yoda speak that George kind of like really leaned on in the next two films.
Fear it is, anger it has been.
Yeah. He only was supposed to do that shit at certain times, you know, like so and the way it was acted is brilliant. It's just and they fixed it, but that initial puppet was so fucking weird, dude. Puppet. This puppet is so weird, but the CGI one,
I was looking at that puppet pretty recently, and as I was looking at it, I was like, you know what? The puppet is weird, but if that puppet had been in moodier lighting than the bright ass Jedi Council, probably would have been a lot more effective.
A little bit better.
It wouldn't have saved it necessarily, but really, like when they put it into that bright Jedi Council thing, that's where it's like.
There's an overcast to all of the Phantom Menace. I don't understand why. Even like you could say that overcast look is in the Jedi Temple because there's windows all around them. Yeah, but it's also in like every scene. Like it doesn't matter if it's in space, whether they're on a ship, if they're in the Naboo hangar, if they're like everywhere you look, there's this weird overcast lighting on the Phantom Menace that exists everywhere. It's odd.
Yeah. Tyron says, honestly, Leia should have died in Last Jedi after she died. Well, before it came, take away Space Mary Poppins and just have her go. That moment with Kylo would have had more impact.
You know, thinking about it, I wonder if the overcast lighting years ago, Patrick Willems had put out a video. Why do all the Marvel movies look the same? It was like around Civil War because they all had this kind of like flat lighting to them. And it turned out there was a good reason for that because they had to turn around the movie so quickly. It made the lighting on the visual pipeline way easier with the multiple contractors. And if I wonder back in 97, 98, when they were doing as many visual stuff as they're doing for the Phantom Menace, if keeping a flat lighting just made all the rendering way easier. Because that immediately changes with 2 and 3, and I know that they got way better at it by then. You know,
well they started adding shadow and stuff. They started like using shadow and things that they didn't fuck with, and then the prequels actually do sort of in a weird way having a Kurosawa kind of thing with the backgrounds too. Like when you get to the next ones, they continually gets more moody, like the backdrops. Like you know, by the time you get to that silent moment in Revenge of the Sith with the backdrop, it's pretty cool. On Arnold's
dance fight.
Put out a video, Dance Fight 66.
Yeah, that's just an excerpt though from their episode 3 video.
Yeah.
So it's great, but also watch their entire saga. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. I think people don't realize he literally says, in my opinion, on so many, I would say a good majority of his videos, and people cherry pick. Yeah, I do. I think that's and that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between like somebody like Theory and somebody like he's like, here's my idea, here's my theory, and I think that part is responsible, and that's different than somebody like Mike Zero, who takes a theory or an idea that's usually not even his, and then pretends like it's news. That's just scuzzy. Geek Chat says he makes me feel ashamed to be a fan of this franchise. Well, just don't pay attention to him then. It's Marty K says it's funny how Palpatine couldn't turn Luke, but from his perspective, Luke and Leia successfully turned his granddaughter. Yeah, and their grandson, his grandson made out with his dog. Think about that. Ryoko says Palpatine changes his goal multiple times in The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, that's actually something maybe up for debate. Like, was it always a long con or not? But also the fact that there's never like the monologuing moment from the villain on that one where he like literally does say, "I was tricking you," that kind of thing. I might have been okay with it in that one. It appears that others can make us feel certain ways, yet our emotions are within our wills, in my own opinion. Okay, that's true. Best SF is the Pete Holmes stuff, as he has an X-Men series just like that, says Tyrant. Real Bit Manor says, Gigantic, just block his YouTube and Twitter and whatever other platforms he has, and you'll be good to go. I'm happy for you. Yeah, I'll admit, at least he's better than Geeks and Gamers. Yeah, just it once again, Last Jedi. Take what you like, what you love, and then just throw out the rest. That's what I say.
Big Trouble in Little China. It's like Chinese buffet. You take what you want, leave the rest.
Yeah, big time. Transformers Jedi is pretty awesome, even though those movies are shaky to say the least. Yeah, Transformers and G.I. Joe movies, they should be so rad. They should be exactly what I want, and they're not.
Bruce Powell was supervising lighting director on those films, and he was also on Revenge of the Sith. And you can see the lighting. If you look at the lighting in Revenge of the Sith and you go right to the Transformers, you can see that progression, that style of look. It's good.
Yeah, it's just the script. Yeah. The script. There's no script. Rogue One had a good combat footage. Yeah, I did. It just reminds me that people label fans certain ways for having different opinions, but it's hilarious. Not aiming at you, Rob, but just in general. Yeah, no. And what I was trying to say earlier is like when there are people literally saying these things that are being sexist, and then you're agreeing with them, it can be hard when those people have been coming at you constantly to not think or even to misunderstand that you're one of them. It's like that's the thing that needs to be like remembered and understood, and like that's the problem. And I'm not even trying to justify it. Like there's people on Twitter where you'll say something like, "Oh my god, you're a sexist and you're a fucking," and it's just like, whoa. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but they've been dealing with that shit from those people. So when you do come and say it's like that's why they do it, it doesn't, once again, two wrongs don't make a right, but we just all need a lot more empathy, I think. Tyrant says, I'm willing to bet there are more camera cuts in one action sequence in Transformers than in an entire Star Wars movie.
Oh, most films.
Tyrant says, Bumblebee intro is awesome. Want that for a whole movie. That should be the reboot point. I hated Bayformers for the most part.
I didn't like the Bumblebee movie. I like the opening. The Bumblebee movie is it's the same premise as the other Transformers movies. It's a girl hiding her robot car from her family. Had that family been more, I thought if they're going to invoke the 80s, they may as well have remade Harry and the Hendersons, where the whole family's hiding Bumblebee. Like that would make more from the government. Then that is an 80s E.T. Hide the alien from the government movie. But one person doing it, I seen this, and the weird, she's got to jump in a pool of water to give Bumblebee's CPR. I'll never. I don't know. I actually
haven't seen that one, but it sounds hilarious. Yeah,
he's a robot.
He's a robot. Yeah,
it doesn't breathe. All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make Johnny 5 Part 3, just do that. Marty McKay says, I just found my huge hardback History of Darth Vader and History of Star Wars books from Lucasfilm, both pre-Disney, by a handful of years. I'm delighted. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's always nice when you find something that you think you lost. That set looks pretty cool. Oh, the Lego set we're talking about now. Oh, I can't wait for that. Yeah.
Have a good time.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting the helmets now that you show that image. Hey Jason, have you seen the X-Wing fan film that takes place on Earth? I have not. The Lego set is $149 easy. Okay, yeah. I bought all this. I bought the Millennium Falcon. I bought the X-wings for my kids, you know. But
man,
it's like literally what they want. They don't. It's hard, and you end up going, well, that's what they wanted. That's they could have got all this other stuff for Christmas. That's what they got, you know.
at that point, it's like I would just rather buy the video game and give them all the deals. But then, you know, kids go, I played it. Not me, man. I just know, like, I'm still playing Valkyria Chronicles 2. So, like, it takes me a while. So, I don't know. Kids kinda plow through content.
Did Loki get sidelined when he's all of the characters? You tell me. You're talking about an actor, maybe? The Reva, Jawa, and Leia show late tomorrow night. Yeah.
The whole show where he's oh man. These people. Blade. I love Blade 2. The only problem with Blade 2 is they didn't give that team a really great battle first. It's the same mistake in Doctor Strange 2. I won't say what it is, but if they're a badass team, before you murder everyone, give them a big battle. It's like watching Aliens, and not allowing them to be badass first. You know, you got to give them a little badasses before you kill the whole fucking team.
Oh, hold on. Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah,
sorry.
But they had all that other stuff in the beginning, and then they go through that.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. If you're gonna like literally assemble the team, then give them something worthy of the team. Is basically your point, right? Something that
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Otherwise, you just have a bunch of action figures. Baymax says Lucasfilm Hasbro don't do themselves any favors when they announce a vintage collection Reva figure today before dropping the Kenobi. It's like stop giving them ammunition. Yeah, at that point, I mean, it's like
who cares about what order of figures released though, Baymax? How are you giving them animation if you have to figure in the release for a fucking action figure? There's a billion Obi-Wan Kenobi action figures. Like, there's statues and I don't know.
Well,
that's the part where I'm like, I don't. This is not for me, man.
At the end of the day, they're gonna go with that perspective.
Yeah,
they're just gonna find it. We're gonna find it. So, yeah. But I also think that like just not showing the whole thing is also stupid because most people like myself are burned out on that bullshit, which is why I don't collect anymore. It's why I don't do any of it. I just don't have the patience for it. And I'm not going to, oh my God, today's the day I see one, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not, that's just not for me anymore. Thomas Shane
still haven't taken my, Mando ship out the box. Like the shipping box, not the.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob. Can I have it?
No.
Fuck. Okay. Thomas says, I've noticed there's a big difference in reaction when it comes to Natalie Portman's character in Thor. The same ones who are saying that it's the Reva show are praising Jane being in Thor.
Wonder what the difference is.
Yeah, I wonder what the difference is.
Luke
says, so just to clarify, will Nari's death be off screen? I cannot confirm that it's off screen or on screen. I do believe that they filmed Nari being killed. But I can't confirm that they show it or that it's a part of the edit or anything like that. I don't know what the most current cut is. And so I can't say 100%. Like there were little things I was hearing that have changed, minor, not things like, oh, I hate that. Did the thing I hate change? No, that thing, not you, Luke, but in general. No, that didn't change, but just like there's like little tiny things that have been tightened up and edit that kind of got rid of some fat here and there kind of stuff. Robin Maynard says people are way too obsessed with other people's opinions. It's just laughable. Well, that's the problem is that everybody wants validation. Social media is successful because everybody wants validation. And when you don't share their opinion, you are invalidating their opinion to them because they're all a little narcissistic in some way. You know, I mean, I'm so narcissistic. I don't care if you like my opinion or not. That's where I fall. Yeah, but I'm not better than anybody.
Yeah. But I'm the best person I know. So
hey, you know what? Everybody should be like me.
Everything else is irrelevant.
People should try because if they try, they could be this guy. No. There's somebody who can't take a joke to get him serious right now. Luke Miller says, "Have you seen Jamie Costa's Kenobi fan film? It's excellent and also has a lot of cool similarities to this Kenobi show." I've seen a lot of it. Like I said, I don't connect with them. I feel like
sorry.
No, I feel like if somebody went out and wrote like an original film and then hung that on a fan film, maybe it would work for me. But it's always coming from the place of a fan film first is why it doesn't work. It's like what me and Rob both talked about with Star Wars. Like if you want to tell a story about a guy losing his identity, that's great. But when you go Star Wars, they're like, well, how do we do it? Oh, well, he starts to lose his identity. Then it's like, well, it doesn't really work. Like when Star Wars is first and then that personal human story is second, the personal human story needs to be first. And I feel like the human story is almost never, ever in a fan film for the most part. Or it's like
times,
yeah, it's causality based only.
A lot of times fan films to me come across as here's me getting to pretend I'm a superhero now.
Yeah.
You know, like it rarely is like, can you set up some meaningful lore? Like when I wrote the one I was on, like my whole thing was there were other ways to use the Force. There were other cultures who interpreted the use of the Force in different ways. How were they using it? And what happens when those cultures encountered the Republic? How did that affect like that? And I wrote this in 99, 98, 99. You know what I mean? This is not like, oh, Rob's putting it. No, that's 90. And that was based off watching watching the Palestinians get, you know, like that battle between them and the Israelis, and watching what happens when a culture who used to be persecuted now persecutes another culture. And that culture who's being persecuted then uses that as justification to commit crazy shit too.
It reminds me of the prequel fans who then shit on the sequel fans who complain that the original trilogy fans used to shit on them. Right. It's ironic.
And I think like the fan films that have worked for me, they're older ones, man. Like the one I remember that I really enjoyed was something called Bounty Trail, which was like this Boba Fett one, looking for a Jedi or some shit. It was not even that. What was interesting was to get around the limitation of special effects. They used the creep show technique, where it's a comic book. So anytime Boba Fett got into a ship, it went to a comic book that would fold and show you the panels and the battles. And then when they'd get to like a planet and land, then they would go do the live action. Clever uses of their limited special effects, you know.
Yeah,
very interesting. I also think the CGI anime stuff that guy was doing with like the Imperial, right? That Imperial like trailer where it's like the like the version of Rogue Squadron, but it was like Wraith Squadron. Like he did an anime, like a CGI version.
Oh, that was amazing. That anime thing was probably the best thing I've ever seen anybody do in the fan film.
Yeah, that's the one where I'm like, when I say we want some animation like that, try just hiring that guy and build a whole show around it.
Yeah, you know? That's closer to Star Wars visions, if you will. And I don't mean to appear that I am saying Jamie Costa's Kenobi film is bad or anything like that. I don't mean it. I just saying they're just generally not for me. And if you are into it, definitely haven't seen that one, check it out. Anakin Skywalker says, "I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, irritating, and it gets everywhere." True, no truer words have ever been spoken.
Why don't go to the beach?
You know what I hated is when you go to the beach and like you go swimming, you're having a good time. You're like, you know, you got like a little kid, so you get that like, oh, I'm so hungry. All of a sudden, feeling just comes out of nowhere when you're like a little kid, and then like, you know, your mom or your babysitter or your friend's mom, whoever, gives you a fucking bologna sandwich. Like, oh fuck yeah, dude! And then you bite it and you chomp sand. That's my Tatooine thing. That's what he should have said. It's in my food and I fucking hate it. You ever shitted sand? I shit sand, Padme. I shit sand. That's what it should have said. The main video game area I'm done with is Mos Eisley Laugh Aloud. But Lego Star Wars?
Fair enough. Although, if they ever did a remaster of Shadows of the Empire, there's a nice swoop race waiting to...
Yeah. Okay. Are you fucking hyped for tomorrow? Yeah, I am. Of course I am. Blade 2, man. Come on. Oh, like shit. See, I needed it sent over the other thing. I can't click this. But there it is. If you guys want to do Santa's predictions, I think we'll just probably do ours tomorrow because we're already at about 2 hours.
2 hours in here.
Yeah, and then we'll cover the news and do our predictions. The fight scenes in Matrix 4 was so bad, man.
The one thing I thought was good was when Bugs whatever. When Bugs is doing that leap off the building and she like lands on the other one and then flips off, like that shot, that was a great shot. That was great.
Ari says, does Disney check crew members' phones for photos taken just in case of inside leakers? I believe they oftentimes check their phones in. Like if you ever go to a movie that you're not supposed to have your phone, or an event, you like check the phone in. But also on top of that, you have the fact that a lot of times they're rushed, so they don't do it that day, or people need to have phones, which is like why to work the production, which is like why we got the I think that Kenobi versus Vader moment filmed, probably. I'm guessing. Avatar is awesome. Friends though, he likes the Friends TV show, I think.
As an Avatar fan, this year is my year.
Oh, you're doing it all this year. You're getting Top Gun, you're getting Avatar, and you're getting Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think you've arrived. Whoa, somehow I went back, or you asked again. Mike Zura is the only Star Wars YouTuber. You said it, AJ. He is the only Star Wars YouTuber.
And yet here we are.
Real Bidminter said, setting theory aside, I personally do feel like if you ask random people on the street if they're excited about Kenobi, they're only going to mention Kenobi and Vader. Sure, of course. Yeah, it's ironic that Josh has completely backed off and is trying to be all positive, or at least more positive now. Yeah, like I said, it's a lot like setting a fire, walking away from it and going, oh, who set that fire? You did.
You know, I had this real troublemaker brother, and he was my adoptive father's biological son, my half brother. And at any time my brother would do something that cost my dad money, he'd be quiet. But then when my brother do a little bit of good for a while, he'd go, your brother's doing better. He's doing better. He's doing better. A couple weeks later, cost my dad $100,000. Like, I'm not even, that is not an exaggerated number. Right? Yeah. Real fucking damage, constantly. Just my brother joined the fucking border patrol, got thrown out for locking his keys in a car. You know what I mean? Like, and being an all around asshole. And the border patrol, think about, they're not exactly the smartest troop of people, So when I hear that, I'm like, it just sounds like an abuser who's not abusing so bad now. Give it a second. I'm not saying, it's like that kind of shit. You know, we'll see how positive the dude is later, but I don't care. Like, the thing that gets me about all that stuff beyond his nonsense with Reva is that then he has the nerve to say, Jason, it's his fault he came up with those fucking thoughts. Yeah. That's the shit that really, I was like, I threw my loaf of bread. This motherfucker is, get out of here with that. Like, it's your fault.
Yeah. Marty says they could easily fix the sequel trilogy simply by saying Luke had a family and he had to hide and abandon them for their own survival. Yeah, I've always looked at it as from the other angle. You could have had Mara Jade, shell a little bun in the oven. She's like, this guy needs to become a Jedi. This guy needs to do this thing. I gotta take off. I can't have him quitting his Jedi-dom, So, yeah. See, like when I'm trying to click that, I could open Boomer's thing. Boomer sent a super chat, but it's being all weird. There it goes. Thank you, Boomer. I appreciate it, man. He said, I'd like to think some exec sat there and watched the scene 38 remake of the Ben Kenobi Vader fight in episode 4 and thought, we can do that. It's possible. When was that made? Because I know the Kenobi Vader rematch has been a thing since 2017. They've been making it sound like Deborah Chow is the reason that the Vader Kenobi rematch is happening. So everybody clap for her, and they should. I don't think there's a reason not to clap for her, but that's what they've been doing. The Vader Kenobi rematch has been a thing the whole entire time. Anakin Skywalker's return in the flashback that they haven't told you about is, I think, probably what Deborah Chow brought to the table, and Hayden's return via that is also what they brought to the table. So, yeah. Oh yeah. Him blaming Jason was absolutely dumb. Yeah, that was like hilarious when he's like, "Oh, well, why'd you show that to me?" It's like, are you not responsible for yourself? I thought you were an alpha male. I thought you were all about alphas and stuff, bud. So fucking lame. But We have a lot of chat here. I'm trying to $3 Theater has that video still. I don't know of what. I do like that guy though. I think he's a nice man. Yeah, Jason, I was responding to the above comments that were commenting to me, not directly about you and Rob. You want to fight? You want to fight, Ben? If Kenobi got renewed for season 2, what would your ideal plot be? My ideal plot would be there is something that they need for the Force retention via that they need to like make it go all the way, and I would explore that further. That's the only place I could see really that's left on the table. Is, I mean, it's pretty much well enough though where it's at. Like you know your emotional state and having that balance is important to being able to do this thing, to giving yourself up to the Force and retaining your consciousness or whatever. Fine, like that works, but
you know, it would be a good idea too.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna somehow say this can't work, but it could. You just keep him on Tatooine, like it's like a night or like a little, like it's a 24-hour thing or something, where he has to deal with the ghost of Darth Maul or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like
no,
something.
Yeah, they actually have an atonement moment when Maul's dying in his arms, and Maul realizes I've been a pawn.
Look, Obi-Wan. Here's my idea. Obi-Wan gets some space lizard and then goes on a crazy adventure in his head. Right?
Yeah. No, and that's we line up there, and that's kind of where I'm going. Is like the original idea was that Qui-Gon Jinn learned from a shaman of the wills, was learning, never finished. And so it was, but he kind of knows, but maybe he doesn't, know everything. That's why he's not fully like a ghost right away and stuff. And that's why he was meditating and stuff like that before the fight. And so, you could send Kenobi out to find the shaman. And then when he gets there, they could be like, we're not going to just give this to you. Like, you know how Boba had to earn the Tuscans like acceptance and stuff. Like they might show up, but you gotta do something for us. And then there you have a story.
Obi-Wan, you must learn from Jedi Master Iwa Waska. Because I have to learn from Iwa Waska.
First, we must give you this tramp stamp on your lower back. Then you will symbolize the true path of the wills.
I have the high colonic, Anakin. You can't beat me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know the number one place that has the best coffee grounds in the galaxy. Dexter's, Jetsters, but it's on Coruscant. That's Imperial space.
You know what? How about this? If you want a small stakes Kenobi story, he goes to save Dexter. How about that? Small stakes. You know what I mean? Not a rematch with him and Vader. Kenobi going to help his friend.
Why they didn't go with the Rey being the lost daughter of and being reunited with her family in that scenario is still weird. They did so much.
Very
that
weird.
Was when she was Kira, she was supposed to be their daughter. Why Rey didn't bury Luke's green lightsaber with Qui-Gon's kyber crystal in Tatooine? Where is that lightsaber? Destroyed? I think it's probably still on Octu, I would think. So yeah.
I want a fan film where she goes to bury those sabers and she digs up Beru's and Owen's skull on accident. Oh wait.
Well, that's also an interesting thing too, is that like Luke keeps Leia's lightsaber. So maybe there's a part of Luke that hopes Leia would pick it back up and she would be the one. Maybe he thinks it's not supposed to be me, it's supposed to be her. And in some ways it kind of is, because she is the final teacher of Rey. But maybe he threw his lightsaber into the ocean of Octu when he quit being a Jedi too, because he never uses it to train Rey. Right. So yeah. Anyways, for some reason Johnny is texting me words for classes that it. Okay, I'm like, why are you Johnny didn't know the word. Yeah, you got it now. But Johnny has the concept. Johnny on the spot. All right, let's make sure that I'm gonna try to get to as many of these as I can before we get out of here. Spider-Man 96 says, popping in real quick to drop a like and say hi. Thank you, Spider-Man. Nice to see that Hayden likes The Last Jedi. It takes a bit to grow on you, but when it does, it's a fun movie. Have a great one. See, look at this guy. Look at this guy right here. This guy's doing it right. Finally, somebody. Normal.
Just friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, man.
Is it for, you know what? I love you, Spider-Man.
It's like I've been through some shitty sequels. I know the deal. You know, people forget.
Yeah.
You let it go.
I've watched most of the Arlnaut saga. We'll finish it soon. Yeah, it's completely worth it. It's hilarious. Says Ben says, so was the Emperor a clone during the original trilogy? No. Because I mean, like, some of the books kind of imply Snoke has been around for a long time. Yeah, they do. No. I'm gonna go out there and just say those books don't mean shit now. Those lines don't mean shit now. But if you want to make it work, you could always say that it maybe Snoke was a powerful evil shaman, and then they did clone that, and that's what he used to make that pawn to manipulate him. You could go there. There's ways of making it work, and because it's just one line, so they could write 2 lines, could fix 1 line easy. That's what I say. Thomas Shane says, I've noticed there's a difference in reaction with how the same people who are crying about Reva are also saying how Jane being in Thor is amazing. It's only a bait and switch if it's a person of color. Hard to argue with what you're saying, Mr. Shane. It really is. And I would even throw it out there. I think if they want to fuck the person, that changes it too. And they're more into Natalie Portman. And I don't think that's necessarily a racist thing, but that's also kind of a sexist part of it, I'd say. So, but maybe I'm wrong. Real Ben Maynard, and if you think I'm talking about you, maybe you should wonder why you think I'm talking about you. Because people do say, "Yo, I'm not doing that stuff." Why? Well, hey, why did you think that's not about you, buddy? That's Transformers and J. Yeah, Transformers and J.J. are both franchises I would love to work, but they just don't seem like they can get it right. Yeah, He-Man, G.I. Joe, and Transformers should be 3 of the best film franchises that exist, that have good scripts, great stories with visual effects and fun. And my kids should be in love with them more than I ever was. And yet here we are, because you get a bunch of trust fund babies who take over in Hollywood and don't know what to do with themselves once they have the position. Like Heike says, do you think we will see Cobb Vanth again? Oh, fuck yeah, we're going to see Cobb Vanth again. They were going to give Cobb Vanth his own show. And so with that, I have to think, yeah. And that post-credit scene in Book of Boba Fett was implying that, you know, he's going to get a little robot tummy wherever he got shot. I don't know. Where did he get shot? His titty? He was going to get a robot titty. The Chronic Chaos line. I actually got a big box of my old Star Wars toys still. Haven't looked at it that many years. There should be a B-Wing from 84 in there. It's huge. Yeah, I had that too. Yeah, you should get your phone out and film it and let us see. Stop your grinning and drop your linen. Okay, Marty. Carlos Gomez says Rupert Friend alluded in an interview that was the Inquisitors using their lightsabers to fly like in Rebels. Do you know the scenario in which it'll be used? I don't believe it happens. I'm not saying it does happen or it doesn't. I don't believe it happens though. Hasbro has approximately a big number Vader variants. Yeah, it's like, so what? Rob, open your goddamn Razor Crest. It's glorious, says Joel. You know,
Haven't decided yet. We'll see.
I
Book
mean,
of Boba Fett shook things up. We'll see how Boba Fett season 3 goes. Sit in a box. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you have to understand. It's like he could open it and have a good time for an afternoon and then maybe not ever want to look at it again. Maybe that's a possibility. But if he does go to Hawaii with his wife with that money one of these days, that's going to be a lot of sweet love for a long time, I think, if he does that. So I kind of could see where he's coming from there. That's what I would do with it. I'd sell that shit and go on vacation. But I'm past collecting. I'm about collecting memories, not things, as I've said. Marty McFly says you've invalidated my Loki Hiddleston opinion. You know, I'm just saying, like, I know where you're going with it. I just didn't see it that way though, because I think it was all Loki.
Yeah, I can disagree with you, bro. I'm not invalidating. I just don't see it. You know, like the Loki was a whole. You know what? You're right. Whatever.
Well, no. I don't think like Reva being a villain and one of the important villains in the series is necessarily like makes Kenobi sidelined in any way. It's just more characters, and it's like a little boy in love with their hero on screen. I only like Superman when he's on screen, you know. And it's like, well, sometimes you gotta see Lex Luthor, you know. Sometimes you do. It's just the way it is,
Loki
or it doesn't
show's
work.
Fantastic.
Which one?
Or nuts. Loki. Like,
Oh, I love
their whole
Loki.
thing is because a woman's in it and it's about her. It's not about. I'm not doing this with you folks. If you feel that way, enjoy that feeling on your own. It's not the show. I didn't see that show. I don't get that show. I don't understand what you're talking about. And we don't have the time right now to go into. It's not the Loki show, but I'd be more than willing to do 2 hours or 3 hours just talking about that show with Jason sometime because it's fantastic.
Yeah, we can do it. I fucking hate fan films. My knees almost dislocate from the cringe. Yeah, I understand, man. Free Palestine. Yeah, everybody needs to be cool. So I say, everybody, stop. Lay down your weapons. Return to the Jedi style. Lay down your weapons.
Stop. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Throw
don't
the saber
shoot
down.
sewage into people's homes, Israel.
A true sandwich. Yeah, Shadows of the Empire would be great. About the only exception for me. Yeah, so like everybody has their little pet things that they love. That's what's hard about Star Wars. Just download Revenge of the Sith X game on Xbox. Only £9 bargain. Playing tonight, getting hyped for Kenobi. Yeah, I still have the original Xbox version. It did work pretty recently in Xbox last time I checked. Mark Stevenson says, hope they are going to do a Shadows of the Empire series. Yeah, I think I don't know if they ever will, to be honest with you, but maybe something like it, you know. AJ, how's it going? I don't even like Star Wars anymore, but you guys are golden. Oh, come on, AJ. Give her another chance.
I don't believe this. This is 2 hours in to the nerdiest Star Wars show maybe ever made.
Yeah.
You have to like it to be here.
Open your heart. Well, hey, AJ, if you watch Kenobi and it makes you happy and you're excited, let us know. Come back and let us know if you give it a shot and you like it. I am generally curious to see if it.
If you
like I
Kenobi
agree
and you know it, clap your hand.
Love your hat. Okay, I was gonna keep going, but you didn't. Eric,
Hate white men.
Pineapple, bacon, jalapeno. You get your sweet, salty, and heat. Sounds good right now. That's making me fucking hungry.
You don't have to sell me. I know. Or don't. We're so
son of a
bitch.
Right now. Eric Denton, you son of a bitch.
It's been 18 hours.
Mark Stevenson says there will be a new Solo movie. He's willing it. He's willing it into existence. SC-38 was like 3 or 4 years ago. I can't believe I could be mistaken. Yes, Dexter Jetster is being pushed out of the building by a rich a-hole building up the neighborhood, and Larry Kenobi has to go help Dexter.
Gentrification, Kenobi season 2.
And that's how Leia got Lola. It was the little Lola comes in trying to save Dexter's place. Jedi Mike
it can only mean one thing: gentrification.
Dexter has Alzheimer's, and she's like, "Oh, where am I?" You know, like, and Better's not included.
C.O. Bibble owns all of Coruscant now. He's got that haircut from Revenge of the Sith, that posh little like crop cut that he had. That he had the Scott Stape in Revenge of the Sith, man.
Jedi Mike says, "Come on, the best Kenobi story is Kenobi by Jonathan Jackson Miller." Ben battles bounty hunter-ish baddies like Tatooine. You know what? I did not dislike the book. But the scope, it's so pushed in, and it just kind of stays there. And that's why I found the current Kenobi series to be like, oh, thank you for doing something so vibrant.
I personally never want to hear the words Tatooine and Sopranos put together ever again after Boba Fett. Like, I'm tapped out for now.
You know what? Can't lie. Was a big gangster movie fan, like growing up and stuff, and Sopranos came out and it just did not work for me, and I never could get into it. And I tried to restart it during the pandemic. I was like, this is a good chance to start watching the Sopranos and really do it. And I was like, just not for me for whatever reason. I don't know why. It just
I'm not into Jersey mob stories other than Boardwalk Empire.
Sure. You know? Which is more about the era than in a way for me.
And a lot of the aftermath of war. What do soldiers do when they come back from a meaningless war and they're all abandoned and fucked up, you know?
Yeah. Santa's been sitting through meetings. He's got elves. He's got elves trying to rebel over here. He's got the elves needing health care. He's got all kinds of fucking elves up all on his shoulders, just like Mrs. Claus is like there going like these elves. And then but he's
an inappropriate joke.
But he's trying to listen to the show. Thank you.
Every time there's a shooting, my naughty list goes to shit.
Oh no!
I'm up for days.
Now you've done that.
See.
Ayrton says Star Wars books are boring. That's why I only get the audio versions, the voice acting, SFX, and voice as a way to go. They can be really good. They can be. Every now and then, I will find that the audiobooks may be out of the pace may not be right. That does happen sometimes with that stuff. Like I want them to start reading faster
Catalyst
during
was
the action
great.
and stuff. Oh yeah, no, there's plenty of good ones. I'm saying, and the audiobooks
Ronan.
are really good. Yeah, they are very good. But all right. Who should? All right, Baymax.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon one that Claudia Gray wrote, the voice acting, it's just so monotonous to me. I can't take that monotonous acting. They keep doing it in the books. Like, just give Qui-Gon more personality. Could you not continue that fucking prequel acting for fucking 16 hours? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we'll do this one. We'll end on this one. What would happen if Filoni took KK's position? And once she retired, he decides to retcon the new trilogy. Is he allowed to do that? Because I kind of hope he does, but keeps Kylo Ren laugh out loud. I do not personally believe that retconning anything is ever smart. It's just because you're not really going to be able to bring back a true Carrie Fisher performance. Mark Hamill at that point won't be able to do Luke Skywalker in a true, performance. So you're just better just moving forward. You're just better just moving on from it. You're just better just like continue it to go. Also, I don't personally believe Dave Filoni would be the guy to take over Kathleen Kennedy's position. I could see him being vice president.
He makes things.
Yeah, he's too creative.
Makes things. She has payroll, all sorts of shit. She got a production, quarterly overearning statements, and managing inflation rates on productions overseas and tax and smoothing over. Like, there's all sorts of shit. It's not just what are we going to make today? Not make today. That's not the job. Like, it's way more complicated. Just think about the fucking memos they have to write, intercompany memos and shit like that. I don't know, man. Like that. Filoni just wants to create shit,
Yeah. Well, but we need to have
They'll
that.
all hate him anyway.
AJ, I want to do one last AJ update. My prediction is that Kenobi will start fine and end terribly, like every 6-episode miniseries. But we need to have that classic Star Wars hope and not settle for mediocrity. Yeah, I do like the ending, dude. I gotta say, I don't know if you've read all these spoilers I put out there, but I think that that is pretty good personally. But we'll have to see. It is upon us.
What 6-episode series were bad?
I don't know.
I don't have any.
We'll be here all day though if we figure it out.
Cool. I mean, we rushed at the end, but
what are you gonna do first to answer Baymax's question before I forget too? Are you gonna open the Razor Crest or watch the Greasy Strangler? What's gonna happen first of those two? If one thing ever happens, which one would happen first?
Probably the Greasy Strangler.
All right, we did it.
Involved with the Razor Crest. It's come down, so we'll see. It's that third season. I'm holding out for it. The third season lights everyone's fire. That thing could go up to $3-4 grand, and that's when I gotta sell it. I have to.
Fair enough.
But after that third season, if no one cares and it doesn't matter, blah 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 blah, then I'll probably just keep it.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Tomorrow's when it's gonna start. We're gonna do a show tomorrow night. So I won't be on unless there's something that I really need to talk about, which might happen, which very well may happen tomorrow. But right now the plan is that we're coming tomorrow night, because tomorrow night is I do have my days right, correct? Yeah, today's Wednesday. Tomorrow night we stay up to watch Kenobi. So we're gonna do kind of a pre-show, and we could watch it with us, and then we'll do a breakdown of what we thought about it. So come hang out with us tomorrow night if you don't want to watch it alone. But if you don't want to watch it with us, I understand, and we'll see you after. All right, everybody, have a good time. We are pretty much there. It's pretty much time, and I'm going to end with just one last funeral for our friend.
Sorry, Nari.
Always call before you visit. Jedi teaching #1.
Sorry, Nari.
I'm on a secret mission. I'm not your friend. Bury a lightsaber. Get the fuck out.
Sorry, Nari.
Saw the little feast getting in the sky. It wasn't to be with Kenobi.
Sorry, Nari.
Rebel show. Rebel show. Sorry, Nari. You gotta go.
Sorry, Nari. the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.